Hello, everybody. Welcome into our latest live broadcast. It's Friday, the 15th of May, 2026. I'm CareyHolzman, and today a new mini PC review. Now, this review is brought to you by all the people you see in green in our chat room. They're our sponsors. In fact, without them, well, we wouldn't be making this video right now. So a super shout out and thank you to everybody that supports us here so that we're not selling out to some commercial corporation, being manipulated like a puppet, being told what to say in order to collect a check so we can continue to make content. That is the standard operational procedure for a profitable YouTube channel. But here, we are only driven by our community. And so long as the community remains interested and supportive, we'll continue to make videos. So with the membership and other Amazon gift card contributions that have been so generously contributed to this channel, we went to Amazon and started looking for mini PCs that we wanted to review, since we're getting very little communication with PC manufacturers, mini PC or otherwise, in general. The economy's tight and it's affecting corporations, it's affecting all of us, it's probably affecting you, and we're not immune from it either. The only thing that keeps us afloat is our viewers at this point, and for everybody that doesn't support us, we hope you at least appreciate the fact that because of all the people that support us, you get to watch this for free. And I hope at some point you will continue to support us as well and join our group so our channel can grow. Right now, we're just kind of stable. We're not shrinking, we're not growing. We're just making enough to make it work. And I can't thank all of you enough for that, because I really enjoy what I do and I'm very much looking forward to this. I get my pick of the litter. I get to go on Amazon and search through every possible mini PC available and pick which one I think is the most interesting or the most unique, that is worth looking at and comparing to other mini PCs we've done in the past. It's not just a luck of the draw based on what company reaches out at some point to offer as a review unit, oftentimes with terms and conditions that we just tell them no. So when I was looking on Amazon, I saw this AOOSTAR. Now, we were working with them prior to this whole economic issue that we're having now. And many, like AOOSTAR, we've just lost complete communication with. And I'm sure we're not the only ones. It's just, that's the way things are right now, and they'll get better. But in the meantime, to show you, I was looking at Amazon, and I saw this. Let me put it up on the screen and show you what we're looking at today. See if you're as excited about it as I am. This unit right here is the AOOSTAR G-FLIP. Now, they make an Intel version of this and an AMD version. So we've got the AMD version here, the R7 H255, but it is bare bones. And I thought, you know, we've got some RAM and SSDs laying around. It's got, it takes DDR5 rather, and it's got two M.2 slots, but I don't know. Hopefully they're both Gen 4x4. We'll find out. It also has OCuLink and USB 4, and it's got two 2.5 gig LAN. So for all of that, right, for $320, what sets it apart is it's got this built-in touchscreen. Now, just kind of looking through this, I said, wow, that looks like something worth looking at. Now, me personally, I have no idea what I would use this for. I don't know where a touchscreen comes in handy, but it's so different, it's so unique, and it's so affordable that even if you ignored the touchscreen, I still feel like it's a really good deal. So going down here, you know, there's more information if you want to read about it. We'll figure it out together during today's live unboxing. We'll put the RAM and storage in. I've got that set aside here from what I've got laying around the office. And then we'll throw Windows 11 on it. And the other thing I wanted to mention to you is that the Windows Media Creation tool is now being updated every month with the latest Windows updates. So if you want to download a new installation media of Windows 11, you need to download the new Media Creation tool first, and then use that to create an ISO image, and then use that for Rufus, and then you'll get all of the updates all the way through last Tuesday already slipstreamed into your installer. And That's pretty good. I think the updates were released Tuesday, and Microsoft had the tool, the media creation tool, updated on Thursday. But Microsoft doesn't say a word about it. There's nothing on the website that alerts you. The only way you're going to know is if you happen across some information online, which is very few and far between of anybody paying attention. So if you have a Windows 11 media installation USB, I recommend you recreate it and get all the latest updates. There should be some interesting updates coming next month for Windows 11 that involve boosting the CPU when things are loading. And there's a little controversy because you can't do anything anymore. You can't give away $100 bills without somebody telling you there's consequences. It's almost like a game our society plays in social media, where no matter how good of a thing you do, the game is to find some, reach as far as you need to find a reason to insult it or find a flaw in it. People are living in a world of absolutes, which is not possible. It never has been possible, and it never will be possible. And so, of course, there's always side effects and consequences. And what we're losing in our humanity is is this for the better? It's not, is it perfect? Is it infallible? There's no such thing on the planet ever in any human being's lifetime in the history of our existence. That's not how nature works. What this is an improvement. And then the idea is this an improvement that's worth the side effects? So I'll give you an example. Every operating system except Windows boosts the processor during app loading. Every one of them does it, from your phone to Mac, everyone. The only one who doesn't do it is Microsoft. So Microsoft's just trying to catch up with everybody else. And people say, well, what if you've got loud fans and a sharp fan curve, and every time your CPU ramps up to load an application, your computer gets loud? Huh? I don't know. Fix your fans. Adjust your fan curve. It ain't rocket science there, Eugene. I don't know why I called him Eugene. It just seems like somebody named Eugene. No offense to anybody named Eugene. Anyway, the bottom line is that does the good outweigh the bad? Is it worth having a system that runs like other systems, like Mac, like Android, like iOS? Or would you rather stay in the past and complain about it? See, people like to complain about Windows. No matter what Microsoft does, they'll find something to complain about. If Microsoft does nothing, they complain about it. If Microsoft adjusts a fix, they complain about it. If Microsoft does any single thing, doesn't matter what it is, could be the most mild change ever that most people don't even notice. Somebody will form a little group of people saying this is stupid and ridiculous and a waste of time and blah, 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 because it's such a minor little change. Why did you bother? In the meantime, the rest of us don't even notice it and don't care. So I want you to keep that in mind as we march forward with our culture becoming so nasty, so intolerant. We're seeing more and more intolerance in the community, not our community. We have a great community here. But in social media, Facebook, Twitter, places like this. That is where these people that behave this way like to congregate, and they enjoy commiserating with each other over nonsense. It's one of the spoils of having a good life. When you've got food and you've got shelter and you're safe and you're warm and you're full, what is left to complain about? Some artificial computer operating system? That's all you got? Your life is that good? I want you to think about that when you read some of this absurd nonsense that is infiltrating all of social media. You decide for yourself. Don't let other people sway. The operating system updates affect all of us equally if you're running Windows 11. You're not special. You will deal with the exact same benefits and consequences as the rest of us. And if the rest of us, if the majority of us are having issues with it, Microsoft will fix it. But if it's a small little group of loud people that just whine, they're being ignored and treated like children, that just like they're behaving. Microsoft won't take those complaints seriously. They never have, nor should you. So sometimes I hear people say, man, I really hate Windows. Okay, well, stop using it. Why would you continually force yourself to use something you don't like? If you honestly meant what you said, and this is how you can tell the liars and the whiners from the people who are sincere. The liars and the whiners who just want to hear their own voice, what they're doing is they're continuing to use it, and every time they use it, any excuse they have to complain about it, they will. And I wish Microsoft had a way to restrict them from using Windows and say, we're sorry that you don't like our operating system, therefore we're shutting down access to your ability to continue to use it. It's clear you don't have any self-control, you have no impulse control, and you have no discipline. And we no longer want to play your game. So we're going to just prevent you from using the operating system from this point forward and do what you should have done voluntarily all along and go use another operating system. Some people don't like the complexity of Windows. It's too complex. Go buy Apple. You're an Apple user if that's what you think. You're using the wrong operating system. It's not for you. Some people complain that it's too virus infected and too much of a target. So therefore, there's a lot of security that you don't have to deal with on Android. Go use an Android then. Stop using Windows or stop complaining. Unless your complaint is something legitimate that affects a lot of people, in which case, that's a different story. But just because it's you and you have a problem, you're the one with the problem. You're the one that needs the help. That's not Microsoft's problem that you have a problem. It's frustrating because it's never going to stop. But what can stop is our reaction to it. Just ignore it, block those people so you never have to see them again. When I see that from a person on Twitter, I just block them because I know that's all they're going to do. So if I don't block them, it's just a matter of time before I see some other nonsense coming from them. And slowly but surely, and day after day, as I block them one by one, I'll start seeing less of it. I can't stop it, but I can just avoid having that nonsense in my life. If you want to listen to your music and you put some headphones on, listen to whatever you want. But if you're going to blast that where I have to hear it, I'm going to basically put my own headphones on and block you out. But at the same time, special headphones that let me listen to everybody else who have something worthwhile to say, something constructive, and preferably something positive. It's too easy to think negatively. It's lazy, it's boring, it's unoriginal, and it's not very intellectual. It's very childish. So I've had enough of it, quite frankly. I've had enough of it for quite some time. And I hope that you've had enough of it too and won't engage these people. Don't talk to them. Don't respond to them. Don't give them the view. That's how they get their sense of satisfaction that encourages them to continue this behavior. Just ignore them. And when they realize after a while that no one's paying attention, maybe they'll give up. I don't know. But in the meantime, I block them so I never have to see them again. It's so frustrating to me to listen to people whine and complain over the choices they're making when all they have to do is make different choices. It doesn't represent the majority of this planet. They don't speak for anybody but themselves. And I'm not banging on their drum. I have no interest in their drum. I got my own drum to bang and then go bang theirs somewhere else. And if I have to hear it, well, I'm going to muffle it out. I'm going to just block it so I don't have to hear it, because it's ridiculous absurdity of spoiled, rotten people who just think the world, no matter how much they have, it's never enough. The world's riches, if they had every bit of the world's riches, they would say, we need to go to another world. This one sucks because there's no more riches. They will have drained it, wringed it out, and threw its dead carcass down on the ground, and then said, I want more, and I want it better. Nothing's ever good enough. Nothing's ever enough. It's a level of greed and gluttony and just absolute, what's the word I want? It's extremely demanding and unrealistic to live your life this way because it's not sustainable. Sooner or later, everything you're complaining about, if it goes away, there won't be anything left. And then you can just be out, you know, back in the old days, back in times before we had proper houses, and you can go hunt for your own food, get rid of money, and just start bartering and really understand what life is about. So in any event, those people need to go on their life path, but I don't need to join them. If this is what they're going through, I don't encourage you to join them either. That's a path that leads to the cliff. Don't go down the path of the cliff. Because then when you get to the cliff, what are you going to do? All right. So I had to get that off my chest because I've been seeing a lot of it lately. Basically, this new update should be out next month, and it's going to speed up Windows boot up times and application load times. Now, how anybody could find anything negative in that is just an example of how preposterous people on social media have become. Whether it's sincere or just for clicks to be outrageous, I can't tell the difference anymore. Is somebody really that stupid, or are they just pretending to be stupid for the clicks? I don't know anymore. I can't tell what's real from what's fake on this, but either way, I don't care, so I just block it. And I recommend that same solution, if it bothers you as much as it bothers me, is available to you with just a couple clicks, and you'll never hear from that person again. All right, so let me get back over to the chat room and say hello to everybody hanging out with us today. And a super shout out to our good friend Buster, who sends a very generous contribution to the channel. And thank you so much, Buster, for your continued support and your friendship. And because of viewers like Buster who go above and beyond, we're able to go above and beyond with our content. And so everything you see in today's video is being brought to you by our viewers. The RAM we use, the storage we use, the flash drive I use, and this computer here. None of this came out of my personal money. This came out of contributors, and this shows you that, you know, it's not, you can see where your contributions are on screen. You don't have to wonder where the money's going. It's right here. And hopefully when we're done with this, we can sell it on eBay or something and then get some money back on it. And then we'll use that money once again to go back on Amazon and find another mini PC to buy or some other piece of technology, which right now there isn't a lot happening. Not much happening in routers, not much happening on computers, processors, motherboards. Of course, not much happening with RAM and CPUs and video cards. So we're kind of stuck looking at mini PCs, maybe some laptops, and what we're looking for are really good values. Every once in a while, it's fun to look at these $1,500 to $3,000, you know, high-end workstation mini PCs or small form factor computers, but the vast majority of people watching this channel are not buying those. They'd like to, they just can't afford it. So primarily, we're looking for things that we feel are most aligned to our average viewer as a consideration for a computer replacement or upgrade or another, you know, spare computer, what have you. And I believe this is one. What I don't know is whether or not I'm right. And so the only way I can find out is to unbox it, load it up, try it out, and see if it matches the theory in reality. And then we do that live and unscripted here, so you can see how long it takes, what the process is, and then determine for yourself if you like it, you don't like it, if you like the price, you don't like the price, etc. So that's what we're doing here today. So back over to the chat room. Hello to Jonathan Fells and to Boss John Skinner and Isaiah joining us saying hello. I also see David Herzog and Tony Aindow joining us, along with Eddie Casanova. Maralina, our channel administrator, hanging out with us in the chat. She did today's thumbnail. You like that thumbnail today? You can let her know. She's there in the chat with everybody. There's Luke Grania and Mark Baggett. I also see Ben Laird from Scotland and David Graham saying hello. John Rogers joins us, along with Andy W6AD and Picard88, Johnny Weld and Michael Lavelle. There's Buster saying hello in the chat to everybody, letting us know it's the pretty late at night over there in Edinburgh, Scotland, where he lives. And the temperature right now, at this late at night, is 48 degrees Fahrenheit or 8.8 degrees Celsius. We're about over twice that here in Phoenix, so I hope you're enjoying it. Let's see. Who else is in our chat room today? Xander Vanderhoven says hello. There's Dazzle555. And Richard DeFries says hello. This channel, if you're new here, is interactive. The whole point of this channel is to talk to each other and talk to me. If you're watching this without talking to us, you're only watching half the show. You are missing out. So I hope if you're watching while we're live, you pop into the chat room and say hello. I don't care if you're socially awkward. Anybody can say hello. Even if it doesn't make you comfortable, it's the proper courteous thing to do, and it's how friendships begin. So I hope you'll take us up on it. We'd love to have you in our chat room, not only for you to converse with other members in our community, but for you to enjoy that and want to come back again and get some more, because it's free. It's all paid for by the people in green, and we would love to have this community continue to grow with other like-minded and supportive individuals. And I know we're not getting them all. For one reason or another, people are not participating in the chat, and it's very hurtful to me to think that somebody thinks my videos are good enough to watch, but they're too good to join us in a chat room. That's disappointing, because if you enjoy the content here, so do all the people in the chat room. You already have something in common. And it's not only a disservice to yourself, it's a disservice to all of us to keep yourself secluded away. Now, if you try it and you don't like it, that's a different story. But a lot of people that watch this channel can't be bothered. And I'm very disappointed in them, because they don't know what they're missing until they do. So I hope if you have an opportunity to catch us live, that, you know, bring up your phone or something. If you watch on a TV, bring up your phone, bring up the same video, and you can chat with us and say hello. We'd love to meet you. We're missing you. You're not in there. Bradley Morris says hello. There's Jack Kugelmass from Toronto, where it's 62 degrees Fahrenheit right now. Jim Kenny says hello. There's Mark Gaines from Northern Ireland saying hello. Welcome in. Jane Train 1 says hello. Says, I love Windows 11. I've never had any problems. Oh, you must never have gone on Twitter. Staying away from social media. There's plenty of hatred on YouTube for Windows 11 too. These people, I don't know where their entitlement comes from and their intolerance, but they either need to put up or shut up. That's all I gotta say. Enough talking. What are you gonna do about it? Nothing? That's what I thought. That's what I want to say to them. Sweet 70021 joins us and says hello. There's Patrick Manny saying hello. Mark Leibowitz out of Chicago, a fellow technician. Joining us here in the chat, R.W. Roble said, I'm enjoying my Morphine mini computer. Right on. There's Frankie B. Welcome in, Frankie. Frankie also sent a very generous contribution the other day, and thank you so much, Frankie. Thank you doesn't seem like a good enough words for the level of generosity here, but it's Frankie, Peter, so many of you, Charlie Purdy, have been so generous with us, and I'm speechless. All I can say is thank you, and we're using the money, we're putting it to good use, is trying to stretch it and see how far it can take us for more content. Michael Lavelle said, sorry, but someone has already whined about the possible few seconds that it will increase the BPU usage. You mean CPU usage? A few seconds, really? That's what I'm saying. It's to complain to complain. There's no real legitimate argument here to be had. But they're reaching to find any way to justify, when I wish those people could be banned. I wish Microsoft had the ability to say, we're switching off your Windows. Since you don't have the self-control or the discipline to step away from something that's clearly causing you mental distress, I wish there was a law that said Microsoft must shut down any software that causes mental distress, any company. If, for example, Facebook and YouTube are not allowing certain types of videos because they're violent or they suggest drug use, if there's executions, YouTube will not allow those. It's too harmful, and the people that moderate the videos that work for YouTube and Facebook have had to go in for psychological counseling because of the content they're looking at, you know, dozens and dozens and dozens of times an hour, hundreds of times a day. And it's all just disgusting, abusive, gory, real people and animals that I don't want to get too much more into. But what if the content is causing mental harm to the user? So what if somebody just complains and whines about Windows so much so that we are concerned that this is essentially poisoning their mind and it's causing them mental distress, that they are now invoking on the community? And I would like to see that kind of moderation occur where they just cut their windows off and say, you can't use this anymore. It's clearly causing great harm. So for your own safety, we're going to prevent you from using it, and then let them be forced to use something else since they won't do it by themselves. I don't know if we'll ever get there with our laws, but it doesn't seem much farther from where we are now, with certain content causing harm not being allowed. And if Windows is the thing causing the harm, then that should not be allowed, at least for that person. And Mara says we've got email. So that's not to say we can't complain about Windows. If it's a legitimate complaint that affects us all, that's one thing. But if you're just trying to drum up a gang, hey, I have an idea. Let's complain about something stupid. Who's with me? That should be illegal. But in the meantime, you know, it is what it is, and just be aware of it. And we can't control what these people do. You can control how you respond. So if you respond in any way, you are encouraging them. If you try to correct them, you're encouraging them. If you tell them they're stupid, you're encouraging them. You're giving them the exact thing they want, which is your attention. So same is true with somebody that knocks on your door and you weren't expecting anybody. There's some kind of salesman. Do not answer the door. Do not talk to them through the doorbell. Do not communicate with them, because even if you want to chew them out, that's what they want. The minute that solicitor gets your attention, now they can talk to you. If you want to disarm them, don't allow them to talk to you. Do not have any communication with them, and that will end that situation faster than any other possible way, and it'll end it permanently with no retaliation. So the best thing you can do is don't respond, be a rock, and don't give people your time and attention who don't deserve it. Do not acknowledge their existence. Even in real life, when someone's at your door soliciting, or a phone call from a number you don't recognize, do not answer it. Do not chew them out. Do not say you're a scammer, you're a piece of junk, whatever. Don't do it. All you're doing is giving them exactly what they want, which is your time. Hold on to that with both hands tight, and don't be so free to give it away, because they'll keep taking more and more of it. They'll say, oh, we got a live one here. We're going to keep that number and keep calling it. All you're doing is encouraging them. And if you really don't want to encourage them, do not respond, do not engage in any way, shape, or form. I promise you, it works every time. All right, that's your Uncle Carey's advice for today. Jack says, thanks to you, Carey, I've learned to enjoy Windows. I stopped messing around with it. Well, that's the thing. With Apple's OS and Android, you can't really mess around with them. They've got you fenced in. And some people need that because they have no level of self-control, and everything that they cause problems with, they blame the operating system. So the world of Mac and the world of Android, they don't allow users to make these changes. They're just simply not allowed. You're fenced in. Some people need to be fenced in. They don't know any better. And when they wander off and they get lost in the woods, they blame somebody else for not, putting a fence from preventing them from walking that far. This is society now. They've all become adults who never grew out of childhood. Their parents have coddled them to the point where they think everything is being pampered and everybody is their mom and dad. We aren't their mom and dad. I don't want to be their mom or dad, and I don't want to do the job their mom and dad failed to do. They're going to have to learn the hard way much later in life what most of us learned from being raised by good parents, what most of us learned before we were 10 years old. Some of these people are in their 30s and 40s and still haven't got the 10-year-old level of expectation of self-reliance in the world, and still rely on mommy and daddy for everything and expect everybody to coddle them as though we're their mom and dad, but they have no way to enforce that. They can't do anything about it. So you don't have to give them what they demand. Tell them, or what? What if I don't give you what you want? What are you going to do about it? Nothing. When you get in a position of authority, you let me know. You're never going to get there if you're just waiting on everybody to coddle you. You'll never find anybody in a position of power or authority that basically people will kiss their butt to be their friend instead of people demanding you must kiss my butt and be my friend. There's a big difference. All right. The internet, man. Who'd have thought? Who'd have thought back in the 90s when I first got online? You know, who would have thought all the bullying I endured in the 80s for being a nerd? Who would have thought that all those people now can't live without the computer, and now they understand what I understood in the 80s? And yet we'll still find a way to criticize me even today. You gotta love it, man. You gotta love it. All right, what are you gonna do? But yeah, there are complaints out there that are legitimate. Let me be clear on that. Probably 5%, 7% of what people complain about Windows is true, and I agree with it 100%. It's far from perfect. It needs a lot of work. But when a company says, "Hey, we're finally starting to listen to you, and we're gonna start doing this," shut the hell up. You got what you wanted. Now give them a chance to cook. Let it cook. And if the results aren't what you're expecting, if the results make it worse, then is the time. But don't disparage or discourage them when they just started out doing the right thing. Stay out of the way, let them do it, and you'll find a lot of the common criticisms that are we most agree to, most of us agree to. Microsoft is addressing them right now. This is what you wanted. Right? This is what everybody that complains wanted. And now they got it, and they're still complaining about it. At this point, if I was Microsoft, I'd say, you know what? We're not going to listen to you anymore. We tried. We're just going to do things our way. If you don't like it, go away. If I was in charge at Microsoft, I would tell everybody on social media that's complaining, we were trying to make it right for you, but that's not good enough for you, so we're done. We're no longer going to listen to the community because you guys are never happy. And nothing we ever do is good enough, so we're not going to bother trying to ask you your opinions anymore. We don't care about your opinion unless you're somebody buying millions of dollars of Microsoft product. We have no interest in what some nobody with no authority or power has to say. But Microsoft hasn't done that. And to Microsoft's credit, they're tolerating this unjustified social shaming when all they're trying to do is the right thing. So just take a break. Let Microsoft make the attempt. Let's see what the attempt looks like. And then say thank you or tell them what further they can do to make it even better. Because I'm telling you, the way this is going, it wouldn't surprise me one iota if Microsoft threw in the towel on the community and said, you know what? We're just answering to businesses now. So if you're not a business, you're just a dog barking. If I was Microsoft, that's what I'd do. And I'd say, you know what? Go buy your Apple computer, go buy Linux. You obviously don't like us. We don't like you either. We don't want your business. Take it somewhere else. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but that would be a very happy day for me. I would love to see Microsoft act more like a human and less like a robot. But push them hard enough. If the community on social media keeps pushing Microsoft this hard, there's going to be some retaliation. You watch. So I hope they back off, and I hope they acknowledge the good things Microsoft is doing as well as the bad. Of course, what I hope doesn't matter, does it? I'm in no position of power of authority, but it's just a matter of what's just and right and fair. Treat people the way you want to be treated. So if you want to treat Microsoft that way, I wouldn't be surprised for Microsoft to treat you the same way back in return. You get what you give. Mark Gaines tells me I've got email. Oh, that's right. Mara did come down and say we had email. No, I'm not seeing it yet. I'll have to check it again in a couple minutes. Thank you, Mark. Stephen Detroit said, I should have started talking to you years ago. You're an awesome person, Peter Laycock. Agreed. Buster, Peter Laycock in our chat room, is the nicest, kindest person you'll ever meet. Now, everybody in our chat room is kind and supportive. But Buster, he's the OG of kind and supportive. There's only one. I wish I knew lots of Peter Laycocks in my life. But I'm fortunate to even just have the one. I was about to complain. Damn it, Buster, why aren't there 12 more of you? Because that's what people do with Windows. They complain about what's really good. They complain about how it could be better. It's never enough. See what I did there? Never mind. All right. Let's see. Have I said hello to everybody? I hope I haven't missed anyone. Nick Poverman joins us. There's Proteva and Montana saying hello. And I hope I got everybody because I want to start the show. Oh, John Lewis from Brazil joining us. USA C2C says hello. There's Frankie B, of course. I think I mentioned that earlier. Charlie Purdy saying hello. Bike Man and Mike Gamer also joining us. There's Rick Lakes from Minnesota. Welcome in, Rick. I hope you're doing well. Leonosian says hello from Las Vegas. Patrick Manny. And I think now I've got everybody. Picard88, I think I missed you. All right, Dom Parada says hello. All right, come on in, come on in. If I missed you, just let me know in the chat and I'll give you a shout out. So, before we get things started, I am so thrilled to let you know that the company that I buy Windows and Office license keys from continues to work with us to continue to offer these 6 months of support for legitimate license keys at, 80 to 90% off the price Microsoft wants. It's ridiculous how much Microsoft wants. And if you look at our videos, any of our live videos, including this one, let me pull one up from a couple months ago. So here's a video from a few months ago. When you scroll down and you see that first little box right there where the mouse is, hit the More button, and you're going to find all the links to whatever we were reviewing, that mini PC. Also, these keys, these license codes for Windows 10, Windows 11, Microsoft Office, and we have direct links so you don't have to search for it. They're not commission-based links. You don't have to use my links. I don't care. It's there for you, just so you just do one click and you're there. You don't have to worry about if you're at the right place or finding it. And here we're going to buy Windows 11 Pro. That's $33.34. We hit the Buy Now button. We sign in. If you don't have an account, it's free to create one. They need to send your private license code and receipt to somewhere, hence your email address. If you want to save even more money, because $33.34 is a fraction of the $200 Microsoft wants, enter the coupon code of Carey. That price drops to $25 US. That's 25% off. So last night I went through and just double checked all our pricing and everything is accurate. They are having some technical issues with PayPal right now, but if you still want to use PayPal, you'll have to reach out to me personally and I'll act as a middleman until we get this technicality worked out, okay? Otherwise, you can use credit cards, or if you have any other difficulties, you can use me as your middleman. No other content creators work with their vendors like this because, quite frankly, they can't be bothered. They don't care enough about their viewers. They don't care enough about their vendors. I want to see the vendor do well. I want to see you do well. And I want to continue both that vendor relationship and my relationship with you indefinitely. I don't want to burn that bridge and say, oh, I got my money, now you can hit the bricks. That's what other content creators do. You may not realize that's what they're doing. But try and email them and see if you get a response. Leave a comment and see if they respond to you. And if you need any help, I mean, if they wouldn't even so much as respond to your questions or comments, they're probably just ignoring all of your emails. Whether or not they see them, what difference does it make if they're not responding? We don't do that here. We want to be fully transparent and available to our viewers and to our sponsors, vendors. So that's why there's not a commission link. It's basically just there for you if you want to save money and you don't want to get burned with all the scammers online. It's your choice. You can go buy your Windows key wherever you want. I get paid the same either way. Just want you to know that's the honest truth. And if there's something that's preventing you from using their service, like they're having some PayPal issues, just talk to me. You can PayPal me instead, and then I'll use my card to buy it for you and then forward the email to you. The only downside of that is you don't have an account then that you can go back and look at your purchase history. So if you ever lose your product key and you ask me for it, I don't know that I'll be able to find it. So that's just something to keep in mind. But in the meantime, we just want to make sure that you know your options. And so if you choose differently, it's not falling on me, right? You know you chose differently. You knew what the risks were. If it works out for you, I'm happy for you. If it doesn't, there's nothing I can do. But if you follow through with my recommendations and the things that I support here, I take responsibility for it, even if I'm not making money for it, because it's the right thing to do for the community. And ultimately, it's how you build trust and integrity over time that can't be purchased. And you can talk and talk and talk, but what have your actions said over the years? Does the person you're watching actually follow through with what they say? Time will tell. And that's how you can gauge a content creator, or anybody for that matter. A lot of people talk the talk. When it comes to actually doing something, finding people today that'll get off their butt and actually do it when there's nothing in it for them personally other than wanting to help somebody. Oh boy, if you can meet people like that, make them your friends. You'll never have enough friends like that. Thankfully, we have a whole community of people like that. Speaking of which, everybody in green, and many of the people in white who aren't green for various reasons, a lot of them want to be, but they can't be for, they don't have the funds to do it. I understand, because we don't have the funds to do some of the things we want to do either. We're with you. We're just glad you're joining us. And we're so glad for the people in green that make this whole venue possible. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a place to meet anymore. So that's how the whole economics of it work, in case you're wondering. Maybe someday that'll change, and change for the better, where there won't be so much pressure from our audience or our viewers to help support us, but that's where we're at today. And of course, what people do is their choice. We're not twisting anybody's arm. Don't do anything you don't want to do. It's not a hard sell. If you like this and you want to see more, please contribute. And if you can't, please just join us and participate in our chat room. That's also a form of support. And be sure and subscribe. If you haven't, be sure and hit the like button. And that's also a way of showing support. Sharing the videos on your social media is also another way to show your support. We appreciate all of it so we can grow this community. So just checking the email one more time, and still not getting any update here from Mark Gaines. But I'll check it. It'll show up in there. Oh, in fact, it just did. There it is. Mark Gaines sends an Amazon gift card. Oh, and a very generous one. Thank you so much, Mark. He had sent out $100 Amazon gift card. That combined with Buster's today, well, that's a nice little windfall for us over here. That can lead to me doing some shopping tonight for yet another mini PC. If there's a mini PC or another tech gadget you think that would have mass appeal for our audience, and we can afford it, please email us and tell us what it is. Because, I'm stumbling on things, just fumbling through, not knowing what I'm looking for. I'm just browsing. That's how I found the G-Flip. I've never seen it before that. And no one ever recommended it. So I hope it's new to you too, because they're not doing, AOOSTAR doesn't do much for marketing or advertising. And the fact is, when they used to send us review units, and they don't anymore, they're not really sending review units out like they used to. They still send out maybe a handful, but they used to send out buckets full. In other words, the number of creators that would get review units was this huge number. And now, since the economy's gotten tight, it's gotten tight for them too. And so they're picking the most you know, the largest audience possible to send their units to, for content creators that will accept the unit and have a much larger view numbers than I have, or anybody else that does what I do. So that means, you know, we just go out and buy it. We don't have to rely on waiting for their approval. You know, am I worthy? No. That doesn't mean the product's not worth reviewing. That's what we're here to find out. With that, why don't we get things started here? Let's start with unboxing. I guess that's as good of a place to start as any. I've been looking forward to this since I bought it. It's been sitting here for a couple weeks, and I'm like, man, I can't wait to get to that. I hope you're half as hyped up about this as I am, because this should be really damn cool and very affordable for the level of cool, if it's everything they made it out to be. All right, here we go. I'll set that right over there so you know what we're working on. Here's the way it's packaged. We've got a little instruction booklet there. Then we've got, if I can hold it steady, we've got the foam packing around the mini PC itself, which is right here. There's your pop-up screen. There's some ventilation underneath. There's all of our ports in the back, USB 4, 2.5 gig LAN, HDMI, OCuLink underneath that. We've got a USB 3, a USB 2. Just ventilation on this side, just ventilation on that side. 2 more USB 3 Type A's and a USB 4 Type C. What appears to be a BIOS reset hole here. Headphone headset jack here, and the power button is right here on top. Okay, that's all I know about it for right now. And the screws to open this up are right through the center of the feet. That's a welcome thing. We don't have to remove the feet to, you know, the screws aren't hidden. This is a great idea. I like it. And we have an additional cooling fan down here for the RAM and storage area. So I like that too. Let me just pull this up so you get a good idea that this isn't like others. Going back to the box, let's move this over. We have, let's get rid of that. In this box here, what do we have? We have an HDMI cable. We have a power cable that's just like what a laptop would come with, a little cloverleaf style power cable that'll plug into an adapter, and then the adapter will plug in here just like a laptop. We have the power brick itself. Now, the power brick does not say AOOSTAR anywhere on this power brick. Instead, it's got the manufacturer of the power brick. If this power brick were to get separated from this unit and you don't know after a move or a rearranging of a room which power adapter goes to what, and you plug the wrong power adapter into, I don't know, say I have a clock radio, say I have other electronic devices that this plug fits into, likely it will cause them to catch fire or at least internally create smoke, and then you've basically got yourself e-waste. So this is a good time to get a label maker or a silver Sharpie and write down what it goes to. Well, you know now, because it's new, in 2 years, if these get separated, good luck figuring them out. I wanted to quickly look just to see what our voltages are on this. This is probably 19 volts, but let me just verify how many watts this is. Yeah, 19 volts, 6.32 amps, which is, what's the wattage? It does not say. We do the math basically. Oh, there it is, 120 watt output. That's pretty standard, so that's a good thing. And then that's everything. No VESA mount. That wouldn't make any sense to mount this where you can't see it, right? So that makes sense. And back over to camera 1. There we go. Hello, Mara.
You've got 2 emails. And,
2?
That's pretty interesting. BBC.
Well, I hope so. I mean, it looked good.
Yeah.
On the packaging and not the packaging, on the photos on Amazon, it looked really
I
good.
should have Barbies to
That would be a huge monitor for Barbie. That would be like a wall.
Right, like mine, the one I'm using now.
Okay, Barbie.
Right.
So other email, you said
There's 2.
2 additional? Oh, I'm a popular guy today. I'll take it. Hey, there's Charlie Purdy, sends an Amazon gift card again. He said, this is my super chat, $50 contribution. The reason, if you're new here, the reason why people will send an Amazon gift card is because if they send it in super chat, YouTube takes 30% of their contribution. So if Charlie sends me $100, YouTube takes $30. And then the remaining $70, I will have to wait between 30 to 60 days before they'll send it on to me. And then I'm just going to turn around and spend it on Amazon. When you buy an Amazon gift card and send it to us, we get the entire amount. Amazon will make money on what we spend it on, right? So they don't need to charge for the gift card. So if you send us $100, we get $100. PayPal even, you know, they'll take 3%, which is a fraction of what YouTube takes. And YouTube's taking enough. Even your contributions, YouTube takes 30%. Same deal. It makes me, the content creator, wait up to 60 days before I receive that payment. So if we have 3,000 viewers paying $1, that's $3,000, and YouTube takes their 30%, and they take basically a third of it. That sucks. But on the other hand, we don't have to pay for YouTube. So there is that. They're saying you can rent our stage, basically, and our seats, our auditorium. You don't have to build it and pay for it yourself. But we want a cut of the ticket price, just like a concert. So anyway, that's the economics of it. And thank you so much. And then I missed one, didn't I? So Charlie, and then also, what did I miss? Oh, Luke Greeny, our friend in Vermont, with a $25 PayPal contribution. Sometimes PayPal doesn't take anything at all. If you have a balance in PayPal or you use a debit card and you send us a PayPal contribution, there's no fee. And PayPal tells you when you send it what the fee is going to be. So you'll know. And so if you use a credit card or another way through PayPal, PayPal takes a fee out of that. Partially because the credit card companies are charging who's ever charging the credit card fee. So there you go. Everybody wants a piece of the action, you know. Anyway, thank you so much, guys. I really, deeply and honestly really appreciate the generosity we see here is amazing, and I cannot. I got another one. Wow. Why can't every day be Friday? We're having a good Friday. I don't know about you, but I'm having a good Friday today because I might have to do some shopping. Oh, William Denton. Carey, he says, have a good show. When I watch from my TV, it doesn't show in the chat. And there's a $50 Amazon gift card. So if you're watching on your TV, the best thing you can do is just pull up your phone. And the other thing you can do, on most TVs, on your remote, you've got up and down arrows, left and right, up and down. The chat should be displayed on your screen. It's just hidden. And you're going to have to push the buttons on the remote to find it. Every TV that has a YouTube app on it, the smart TVs, they all have the features of YouTube in them. They just don't give you any instruction. So if I had a TV here, I'd show you. We could bring up the channel, we'd use the down arrow, and we get that bar that moves left and right, and underneath that you'll have the thumbs up button. Then you'll have a little icon that shows a caption, like a cartoon. When somebody's talking, it's a little caption that appears. You click on that caption, and then the video should shift to the left and show you the chat room. But you're going to have to navigate with your remote through basically a hidden menu. And once you figure it out, it opens up the door to all kinds of other YouTube features that are available on your TV. However, you won't be able to communicate in the chat room unless you have a keyboard hooked up to your television. Most TVs have USB ports, and yeah, you can plug a typical wireless keyboard in and type. Most people, however, will just pull up their phone while they're watching on TV and just use their phone for chat monitoring and communication. Because there's no rule that says you can't be watching the same video on two different devices independently. And of course, the other thing you can do is you can often multicast from your phone to your TV. So that way you can say, whatever on my phone screen, show it on my TV. And you can flip it the other way and go that way. But I still don't think you can communicate in the chat room while you're mirror casting, but I'm not sure. It might depend on the phone you've got. It's a shame to even call these phones. This is a computer with a phone app on it, and most kids don't even use the phone app. Kids today. These kids today. All right. Thank you, guys. Let me move some of this out of the way so we can get some work done here. I'm going to move this right over here. And I'll just put this up here because I want us to remember what we're working on. We're working on AOOSTAR. So when I'm looking at Amazon, I'm noticing two manufacturers that are offering what I think consistently are the best value. And that currently, in May of 2026, is GMK Tech, AOOSTAR, and then if you want more variety of a little of everything, Miniswarm. I would also say Camrui is in the mix. They just don't have as many models as they used to. So Miniswarm kills everybody with the variety. They've got a little bit of everything for every budget and every need. And then of course, AOOSTAR has a pretty decent variety, and as does GMK Tech. And they really do well in the mid-range for value. That's why it's here. And then on top of that, offering something unique, which is what I really like about Miniswarm, is all the variety they offer. But even Miniswarm doesn't have one like this. So, hence I'm very interested. Now to work on this, I have to put it on its face. And it just occurred to me that when I turn this over onto my desk, I might be scratching the screen. So what I'll do preemptively is I'll just grab a microfiber cloth I've got laying here. Because that would be a shame, wouldn't it, before I even turn it on to scratch it. Let's get it opened up, and we're going to have to put some RAM and storage in here. I've got the RAM and storage right here. I've got a 2 terabyte Beijing S880 Gen 4x4. And I've got some RAM I pulled out of something here. I don't know, it looks generic. My notes say it's 8 gig times 2 of DDR5. I think that's what my writing says. This is either going to be 4 gigs each for a total of 8, or 8 gigs each for a total of 16. But it is DDR5, and it is the 5600 speed, so ideally we'll use that. I have some other RAM if that's not going to work for us for any reason, but I want to go through what I have that's already been opened. I still have some unopened boxes of RAM, about 5 of them, and then we're done. I'm hoping that'll carry me through until, you know, RAM prices come back down to earth again. So that's interesting how the foot comes off with the screw. See that? Very easy access in here. Love it. I also want to pay careful attention to the orientation of the back lid here. We do have an arrow right here. See that arrow? And it faces the front of the unit. So as long as we remember that, it'll avoid some confusion over the 4 different directions this could go back on in theory, but it only fits properly in the proper direction. I'm always so excited to get them open. Even to this day, I forget to pay attention to some kind of a marking indicating, you know, which way I took it out. And then I have to figure it out the hard way by experimenting until it fits right, because I wasn't paying attention. Or I wasn't focused on, you know, thinking ahead. I was only thinking about getting it open. But I will have to put it back together. So this is a very good time to just kind of remember orientation. So another way I could remember it, you know, the arrow's the easy way, but there's like a serial number right here, and that's facing the back. So anything I can use just as a landmark will help save me any sort of frustration of what should be a very easy thing to do, which is put the back on. But if you don't put it on, and it can go on 4 different ways, right? It can go on, you know, with that arrow facing here or here or here. And it won't go down correctly if you do that. Now I want to be very careful when I take the back off of this, because that fan has got to be powered up, and there could be Wi-Fi antennas, and those wires are delicate. And I don't see any sort of indent on here to help lift this off. There's no space for a spudger. There's no pull tab. That's unfortunate. But what we do have are these vent holes. And if we put something like a spudger in the vent holes, preferably something plastic or nylon, like a credit card or a loyalty card, put it in there, and maybe we can get enough. No, that is not going to cut it, Carey. I think it's all metal, and I don't want to scratch it. But this isn't going to do the job. It's in there pretty tight. So I'm going to grab my serious spudger, but I want to be careful not to scratch anything. I really thought this was just going to come right off. I did not expect it to be this difficult. I assume that arrow is only for orientation, that there's not a spot that I'm not seeing for the spudger to fit in. No, there isn't. Okay, remember, we're not doing anything by the book here. We're just going to look at this intuitively, because with somebody that has 35 years of experience, I shouldn't need to read a book on how to open up a computer, unless they designed it in such a terrible way that it's not obvious to a seasoned technician. And that would be an argument for engineering to, you know, if it's not intuitive to a seasoned tech, how's a regular end user supposed to know? I'm going to try just using a little flat blade metal screwdriver, which can be pretty rough because it can cause the metal to bend and we can scratch it. Now granted, we're on the bottom, you know, it's not going to hurt anything on the bottom. As far as like, no one's going to see it, but I'd still rather not damage it. Oh, wait a minute, I got some movement. I was just about to say I'm puzzled why this won't budge. I'm going to get my spudger back out. If I could just get a little gap that I could fit this in, everything will get a lot easier. And I need my, you know what? These glasses I've got are not strong enough for this work. So I'll get out my more powerful glasses here. Yeah, I see a gap right here in the corner. There it is. See that? And that should just very easily lift off. There's no clips or anything because it's metal. Plastic would have clips. Metal doesn't have any clips. There's a pretty good sized fan on the back of this. And let's unplug it. And just a mental note for myself that the fan is going to plug back in just to the left of the top RAM socket right there. But the reason I want to remove this is I don't want to put stress on this cable or this connector. And I should not be pulling it by the wires. I really should try and get underneath the connector with the screwdriver. And it's got a little lip or a ledge on the left and right top of the connector. These little white connectors, they have a little ridge right there. So you get the screwdriver underneath that ridge right there, and then give it a twist, and that pulls up the one side, and then do the other side. Once it unclips, then it comes off very easily. Almost every one of these little white connectors, regardless of what it's connected to, all come off the exact same way. There's some exception, but just so you know. Let me bring this up to camera 1, and let's take a look together at how it looks inside. And I need these glasses off because that's too much magnification for this process. Inside, you can see our 2 RAM sockets for DDR5 SODIMM RAM. We have an M.2 socket here. We have an M.2 socket here. We have an M.2, I forget what this is called. This is a different kind of an M.2 slot that's designed for Wi-Fi adapters. I can't see who makes that one. You guys might be able to read it better than I can. We've got, let's see, what is underneath the tape? Oh, that is going to be Wi-Fi antennas that move out to this side. And CMOS battery right there. And then that little plug right there, that's where the fan was connected. Was it? Wait a minute. Or was it this plug over here? See, things like this can get really confusing when you go to put it back together. We have a plug on the right and a plug on the left. Which one was it? We'll figure it out. I'm not worried about it. I got to remember which way this was facing when I opened it. How was I looking at these sockets? Was it over here that I unplugged it, or was it over here? The stuff looks really easy when people make YouTube videos, but it's only when you go to put it back together that you realize, uh-oh, now I'm not sure. If we're lucky, it only fits in one slot anyway, on one of the connectors. But I might have to even rewind my own video to check. And if it happens to me, don't feel bad when it happens to you. If you can set your phone up and record you taking it apart, and you never need to look at the recording, just delete it. But if you're putting it back together and you're like, uh-oh, I can't remember, welcome to the club. Pull back the video and watch it back. When you get it all put back together and you're done with it, just delete the video off your phone. Man, I wish we had this ability in the 80s. Do you know how much money that would cost to film, wait for the development to come back, pay for all of that, put it into a projector to play it back? Take advantage of the tech. It takes a few seconds. It's in your pocket. Why not use it? If you don't need it, great. Best case scenario is you didn't need to look at it. No harm. What is this? Oh, there's some kind of a cover over the Wi-Fi card. All right, let's go ahead and get the SSD and the RAM installed. So I'm going to need a little screwdriver here, and we're going to take out this screw right here, because I'm going to put the first NVMe drive over the Wi-Fi card, because that's usually the way manufacturers ship them. And I do need my more powerful glasses for this work so I can see all the little details here. All right, Beijing S880. These haven't gone up in price that much, not compared to RAM. So at least storage is much more affordable than RAM right now. It's still more expensive than it used to be, but not by 500, 600%, more like 50%, which isn't terrible. You know, 50% of $100 would be $150. So 500% would be like $500, and that's a pretty significant difference. So I think these are still reasonably affordable for the amount of space you're getting. So we're just going to put that in there. I'm not worried about a heatsink on here. This is a graphene heat dissipating, very thin piece of metal that looks like a sticker. But we do have this cooling fan. Now, if we didn't have the cooling fan, maybe buying a unit with a heatsink on it, if it's a faster unit, would be a worthwhile purchase, because we have quite a bit of room for a heatsink before we hit the back of the unit. So I like that. I like that they give us that extra space. Now for the RAM, this says it's A-Pacer, 8 gigs, DDR5 5600. Okay, well it should be 8 gigs each then. I don't know why one has a sticker and one doesn't have a sticker. I think they're both the same. That's why I kept them together. Yeah, they're both the same. Sometimes when the stickers come off, sometimes they just come off. But without the sticker, you've got no warranty because there's no way to know your serial number, and therefore there's no way to know if you're in warranty. So basically, no matter what length of time this warranty is, if I lose the sticker, there's no way for me to prove that the memory module I'm returning for RMA is the memory module for the receipt I sent. So most companies will say no sticker, no warranty, because the serial numbers are not etched on. The serial numbers are simply placed on a sticker. Now, in theory, maybe I can move, like let's say I had one bad unit. Usually when you have a pair like this, they're sold as a pair, they need to be returned as a pair, even when only one of them is bad. They replace them as a match set. So in this case, I'm not too worried about it. I'm sure this RAM works, but if the RAM should fail, there's probably it's probably not worth pursuing trying to get it replaced under warranty with the sticker missing. That's just standard in the industry. That's not to say it's not worth trying. Maybe a manufacturer will bend the rules for you, but I don't count on it. And of course, if these were 48 gig modules or something worth a lot more money, that might be worth the attempt. But at 8 gigs a piece, you know, not a big deal. Okay, so now our RAM and storage is installed, and that's a bare bones unit. That's all you have to do. Some units are easier to get into than others. This one was really easy, except for the fact that they don't have any kind of a pull tab or a release to pull this lid off. So remember I said the arrow pointed towards what? The front of the unit? Is that what we agreed? So if that was the orientation and this is the front, then this cable clearly goes towards the rear connectors. If I'm remembering correctly, and I may not be, let's see if it fits in there. I'm curious now, will it fit on the other side? Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe they're both for fans, and boy, it looks like it will fit on either side. I just want to put it back the way it was. I don't want to find out the hard way that there was a reason that I don't know about for picking one over the other. So I do believe that's where it went. If I can seat that bad boy. Come on. Yeah, I got it. It's locked in, or it would just fall out if I didn't lock it in. Then we should be able to place this back on here. And without feet on this, you'll be blocking this ventilation. If we just wanted to quickly see if this works and turn it over, I'm suffocating it. So I don't have much choice but to put the feet back on, even though I haven't even verified that it works. You know, if my RAM is bad or incompatible, I'll just have to take it back apart. But at least they made it easy. I'll give them that. In fact, I think what I'll do is I'll just put 2 feet on, because I'm so uncertain. I'll just put on opposite corners, and that'll lift us up off the table and then allow us to verify that we get a power on self-test. And I'm not going to crank these down too much, just to the point where I get kind of the essence of a stop. Don't bend the feet in by over tightening. There's no reason for that to be that tight. So with 2 feet, I think it'll stay stable. No, it's not going to be good. Let's put the other 2 feet on. These feet actually have a pretty nice depth to them. Sometimes on these mini PCs, they have, you know, feet that are only 2 millimeters extended out, and that's very tight. You know, air doesn't take much, but I'd rather have a bigger space for airflow than a smaller one. And again, when you put the feet on, do not tighten them so much that the screws won't turn. You've over tightened. All it's going to do is make it harder for you to open this back up when the screw won't come out very easily, and you could end up stripping out or camming out the top of the screw because of over tightening. So we don't want them so loose that they wobble or vibrate or fall out, but we don't want them so tight either for those reasons. And let's see, I need a power supply, so let's grab that. And we'll plug that in right here. And let me move that out of the way. Let me get rid of these glasses because they are way too strong for this kind of work. Let's grab the HDMI cable off of the streaming computer right here. And we'll plug that in to HDMI, like so. No internet, no Ethernet cable. Let's get rid of that. There's some room. I will need my Windows 11, which I think I have right here. I updated this yesterday, so this should be all the updates from Tuesday should already be on our install. And then what else? I need power. Oh, I need a keyboard and a mouse. I knew I was forgetting something basic. Yeah, probably gonna help if I have a keyboard and a mouse. So let's get that plugged in and turned on. So this is turned on. And we can use the USB 2 port back here for the keyboard and mouse, saving our high-speed port for like something where the speed would make, would be a benefit. The speed of the USB port being faster won't make my typing or mouse movement any quicker. I wish life was that easy. And then, let's see, I need a power cable. So I'm going to use one of my own power cables down here so I don't have to unravel the nice new one in the box. And we'll just plug that on right like so. Okay, at this point, we should be able to power it up. So what I'm going to do is grab my Windows 11 installation media, because there's nothing for this machine to boot to. Everything we plugged into it is like brand new. So there's no operating system or partitions on the drive. And hopefully the RAM will get recognized correctly. I don't think the screen's going to work until we get drivers installed on it. And I just noticed here, there is a little spot with these little plastic grommets or covers, rubber covers that you could pop these covers out. There's got to be some screws, and then there's a place for a spudger. I don't know how well the camera's showing this. Right there to lift out that. But I don't know why you'd need this side open. That's a little baffling. However, just an observation. Let's power it on. We've got a blue light, and you can see there's a little light in the inside too. And then let's go over to the streaming computer and see if we're getting a power on self-test screen. Now this may take a minute as it trains the RAM, or it may never happen if it doesn't like our RAM. Oh, there it goes. So far, so good. I'm assuming this is 8 gigs each and not 8 gigs together. And that little toilet bowl spinning will be loading off of the flash drive. That starts our Windows 11 installer, which again, this is my first time trying this new installer since I upgraded the flash drive installation media last night when I realized the media creation tool had been updated. So next, agree that everything's going to be deleted because there's nothing to be deleted. It's a brand new drive. I'm going to say I don't have a product key, and we're going to select Windows 11 Pro when asked. Windows 11 Pro. Because I'm going to go on VIP-URCDKEYs and buy a license. And I need to make sure the license matches the version I install, or the license won't work. So we keep it easy. We just throw 11 Pro on everything. Next. Accept. Can I ask, where do we want to install Windows? Well, right here, disk 0 is unallocated space. That's our phasing drive, that's 2 terabytes. Disk 1 is the flash drive that contains the installer. We hit next. And install. And we're off to the races. So far, so good. Everything is running exactly like it's supposed to. And I just want to minimize my screen down to the corner so we can kind of keep an eye on me. Because I'm a pretty sneaky guy. You don't know if I'm out of your sight what I'm doing. Just ask my mother. And then we'll also keep an eye on our installer. So far, everything's going perfectly. How we're going to get that screen to work, I don't know. I'm not sure. We'll check AOOSTAR's website and see if the drivers are available. I assume that's how we're going to get it. But maybe it'll happen automatically through Windows updates. Mark Liebowitz said, that's an interesting mini. I find myself wondering what I'd use the built-in screen for. All that comes to mind would be sort of a digital picture frame while using the PC and a normal monitor. You could run AOOSTAR and put some, temperature gauges, CPU performance gauges, RAM usage gauges, resource gauges, and customize it. If you're one of those people that likes to use up your precious resources to monitor how much precious resources you have. I think it's so stupid. But you know what? It's cool. It does look neat. It looks like, wow, you really are a computer guy with all those gauges and dials and, like the inside of a Millennium Falcon. What's that button do? It's not real. It doesn't actually do anything. So feel free, flip around. It's not an actual spaceship. None of the switches, they just cause lights to light up. That's it. Or maybe a sequence of patterns light up. When they tell an actor, fly the Millennium Falcon, how do I do that? Just start pushing some buttons like you know what you're doing. Grab onto the steering wheel there, the throttle. Pretend like it's a plane. There's no, you must hit this button or that button on most science fiction. It's made up. In much the same way, watching your resources on this is silly. But so I do agree, it does look cool. It would take less resources to play a video of recorded resources and let the video play on here so it appears that that's actually what's happening when it isn't at all, but it'll satisfy the psychological desire to see what's going on, even though that's not actually accurate. It would use less resources to do it. You got to appreciate how funny that is, and people wouldn't know the difference. Most people wouldn't. But yeah, you could set it up as a picture frame. You could set it up as a way to monitor, I don't know, maybe in a Zoom call. You want to see maybe what your camera's showing on this little screen, what you're broadcasting out to everybody else. You can use it as a secondary monitor where you can drag some windows across to it for various things. Obviously, that would have a large font. Maybe you started a countdown timer or something, and you want to be able to have it visible at all times while you're using the computer. You don't want it buried behind another window. You need to keep an eye. I got something in the oven cooking for 15 minutes. I set the timer for, to just start from 0, and I just keep an eye on it. Or I could have it count down from 15 so that I know when to go check the oven. You know what I'm saying? And I want it visible at all times. I don't want to forget I got a timer running. So while I can still use the computer for other things on my main screen, I can have this as a little reminder off to the side. I'm not sure, and I don't know why it's touchscreen, but it's up to your imagination. I don't know how real useful this would be for any of my business clients. I don't think that they would find that appealing in any way, shape, or form. Worst case scenario is they do find it useful, and now I've got to put a bunch of these in there, and now everybody wants one. And then that's when AOOSTAR will stop making them, and then there's nobody else to buy. That's it. Then we got to buy external monitors and use USB cable. Be careful with that stuff, because the worst thing is that they like it, and then they want a bunch more, and then the manufacturer raises the price, so they no longer make it. That has been the story of my career. So when initially introducing this to a client, they probably have no interest in it. And if you say, well, if you twist their arm and say, why don't you try it? They might just end up loving it and then want 10 more. And then you might have difficulty getting 10 more. And then you might deal with support. Hey, my monitor's not working. Which monitor? The one on the, things get really confusing. And then trying to get any parts for this, you better order a spare one is all I'm saying. Because if you're going to support your clients and you need fast support, you better have at least one spare one that you can swap out or use for parts. And then take the one you swapped out that's bad and be able to send it back in for warranty. And then when that takes 2 or 3 weeks to get it back, put it back on the shelf as your new spare. Mark Liebowitz said, I can count the number of times I felt a need to do that. To do what? I can count the number of times I felt a need to do that on the fingers of one hand and still have 5 fingers left over. Calvin said, it's been a long time since I've seen you drinking Coke. Oh, I still drink a Coke every day. I just usually save it for a meal, that's all. Let's turn off camera 1 here for a second and go through our questions. United States, yes. It looks like my new install media works just fine. US keyboard, skip. Doesn't even look any different, does it? Missing drivers for network. See how it says to install the drivers now? We're going to skip all that. We don't want to connect to a network until after we get to the desktop. Username will be user. Enter. Blank password. We'll turn our location settings on. That'll fix any date and time issues and constantly keep it updated to the second without having to think about it. Once we're connected online, Windows will in the background synchronize with internet clock servers, time servers, and make those changes without so much as bothering us about it. Okay, so now we've answered all of its questions. It's going to start us up to the desktop as it processes based on the answers we gave it, region, language, keyboard, etc. And now it's configuring Windows to those settings, and that just takes a minute. Once we get to the desktop, then I can plug it into the network. I don't know that we have network hard drivers, so that's one of the first things we're going to check, is just to see if a network works. We need the network to download the drivers. And if we don't get the network, then I will use this tool right over here, just a little USB to Ethernet tool. It's an adapter, not a tool. Plug it into one of the USB ports. These drivers are already built into Windows 11. Plug my network in there, then download the drivers for the network. Then we don't need this anymore. Then we can go to AOOSTAR and download the drivers. If you don't have one of these, you could always use another computer, assuming you have another one available, and download the drivers from AOOSTAR, put them on a flash drive, and then plug that flash drive in and just start doing your driver install. A couple different ways that you can accomplish this, assuming AOOSTAR has the drivers, which we're going to find out. So let's start, first of all, by just looking in the device manager. Let's cut out camera 1. You don't need to look at my mug. And right-click on the Start menu. First of all, is it 16 gigs of RAM or 8? It better be 16. Installed RAM is 16 gigs. There's our Ryzen 7 255 with the Radeon 780M graphics. That's our 2 sticks of 8 gigs. Good, that's what I thought they were. Windows 11 Pro, look at the build number. Right out of the gate, we're at 26200.8457. That's if you have installed Windows and downloaded every update, no matter how many reboots it takes. Ultimately, this is what you'll end up with. By updating our installer, this is what we start with. So the only Windows updates waiting for us should be drivers and antivirus, and that should be about it. This is my first time using this new build of the installer, so I could be wrong, but I think that should be all that's waiting for us. Now, if we watch this little globe down here, what I'm curious about is if that will turn into a little monitor with a little flashing cable. So when I plug the Ethernet cable into either one of these 2.5 gig LAN ports, let's see if that little monitor changes right now. If it doesn't change, it stays, that means there's no driver. So that means if I go to the device manager, since it hasn't happened by now, that's telling me there's no driver for the LAN jack in the back, and both LANs are going to be exactly the same. So if there's one driver missing for one, I guarantee you it's missing for the other one. Let's go to the device manager. How many devices are we missing? Yeah, so there's the 2 Ethernet controllers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 devices are missing. And the MAFP general device is one I've never seen before. I bet that's the monitor. We could Google this stuff and figure out what it is, but I can't be bothered. So here's what I'm going to do. We're going to come back over to camera 1. And we're going to grab my USB to Ethernet adapter, and we're going to plug this in. And I'm going to take my Ethernet cable and plug it into my adapter. Now we should see that little globe change to a little flashing monitor, cable over a monitor. And then that should solidify and stabilize, and now we're online. Since we're online, we can now go to Windows Update, and see what drivers we're going to get automatically before we start manually overriding things. So we'll check for updates. And while it's checking and you see it's connected to the internet, it's changed the wallpaper. It's even started to download some updates in the background without our consent, because that's what Microsoft does now. And that's what your Android phone and everybody else does it too, because customers don't know to do this. So it's being done for you for the safety of yourself, your company, and everybody else that you would infect as a result of allowing yourself to be infected. Now look at all the drivers we're going to get here. We've got the some audio driver, some sort of Intel driver update. This is likely antivirus related. This is antivirus related. This is antivirus. So that you're always going to want that to run. There's a biometric. Oh, does this have a fingerprint reader on it? I don't know. And AMD. Oh, okay, yeah, this is an AMD system. Yeah. And driver update for AMD SM bus. That's nice that that's coming in from Windows Update. But we'll still download the AMD Adrenalin driver just to make sure we're getting the latest version. And that's true of any AMD system, be it a laptop, a desktop, or a mini PC. While we're waiting, I'm going to just go back to advanced options and back to turning on some things here. So with that on, that on, that on, we have an optional update. I want it. Whatever it is, I don't even know and I don't care. I just know I want it. There it is right there. I don't know why it's optional. And then we'll check our power settings to see if the computer's going to go to sleep on us while we're live, because that sucks. And it will. So let's change that. Not to go to sleep for 3 hours, and never, ever put the computer to sleep. Only put the monitor to sleep. Hit save changes and these options appear. Change what the power buttons do. When I push the power button, I never want it to sleep ever under any circumstance unless I'm trying to save batteries. Since this doesn't have batteries, when I push the power button, I want it to shut down. There is no sleep button, so it doesn't matter what I tell it to do, but I'm going to tell it to do nothing because that's just the way I am. And with that, we'll let our updates finish downloading and installing, and then we will reboot and check back the device manager and see how many drivers are still missing. I suppose while we're waiting, we can go to AOOSTAR's website and look for drivers on the G-FLIP. So let's do that since it's something to do. Oh, never mind. It's already finished. Let's restart first, and then we'll see where we're at. But one way or another, we're definitely going to, if drivers are available, and they should be, we want to download them from the manufacturer. Our friend Buster is saying good night. It is late there in Scotland. Thank you, Buster. Thank you for hanging out, and we'll look forward to seeing you Sunday, I hope. Sleep well, my friend. Mark Leibowitz said, the FedEx man just dropped off a Lenovo ThinkBook 16 for a client. Now I have something to do with my hands while I take in the live stream. Nice. Boss says, you know that small screen? I think it's still more practical than all the RGB everybody's obsessed with. 100%, man. You're preaching to the choir on that one. At least the screen serves a purpose. Whether or not you need it or you use it is up to you, but RGB doesn't. Very rarely does RGB serve any purpose. Sometimes systems have RGB that'll like represent their temperature. It'll be green or yellow or red as an alert to system's health status. But most people don't set it up that way. So you can see with the screen blinking out, it's still loading a driver there. Oh, and I saw that screen just flash. Oh, look at that. Did you just see that happen? Wow. That just happened automatically. And that does not go up any further. That is fully extended. It does not turn off either. It stays on. As far as I can tell, there's no way to shut this off. My guess is you would configure this as a second monitor in Windows. But that was easy. We didn't have to do anything special. Okay, let's go back. Let me get rid of camera one again, and let's go full screen over here for me. There we go. And let's go back to Windows Update again. I don't anticipate there should be any more updates after that. But we'll check. These retry, these are ones that are already duplicated. They were already installing auto-magically in the background. And then we manually told it to check for updates. So it duplicated these because they hadn't installed yet. They were in the process of downloading or installing already. So when one of these got done first, then the one that I manually wanted then failed because it's not smart enough to know, unfortunately, that it's already downloading. And there is what looks like another antivirus update, which is fine. Those will come in multiple times a day. So that's a good thing. And they happen automatically. You don't have to worry about it. They work in the background quietly. Let's look in the device manager and see where we're at here. So now we're down to what looks like a Wi-Fi and Bluetooth adapter missing drivers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then of course the generic Bluetooth adapter with the exclamation is 7. So that resolved 3 of the issues for us out of 10. Now we're down to 7, and that was without having to do anything other than go to Windows Update. With regards to the network adapters, those are both Intel 2.5 gig, and then this Realtek gaming USB controller, that's my USB adapter. So watch what happens when I unplug it. It'll go away out of the device manager, and I'll take my Ethernet cable and plug it back into the back of the mini PC. And if you watch the globe in the bottom right corner, that should actually acknowledge we plugged the cable in now that we have the driver. And I no longer need my little USB adapter. Isn't that a useful tool? Even though I will probably only use that tool 10 minutes at a time, 3 times a month maybe, boy does it more than pay for itself, and the headache it helps resolve. Anyway, let's close this out. And by unplugging and then replugging the internet, it might have disrupted Windows Update to hesitate and then reconnect. But you see it, just leave it alone. It finishes what it started. We'll close that out, and let's visit AOOSTAR's website. Now, I do this live and unscripted because I want to emulate what I would really do in the field. If a customer said, hey, I just bought this computer, will you set it up for me? I go to the customer's location, and I'm doing this exact same work, only I'm not filming it and talking to you, right? So we're just flipping this the other way, saying, let's pretend this is a typical service call that we would get. Customer says, hey, I bought the RAM, I bought the storage. I'm not confident in doing the work. Could you set it up for me? This is what I would do. And I would go up here and I would type in AOOSTAR G-FLIP drivers. Just using the default search. I'm not customizing my preferred search engine unless the customer wants me to. First link that pops up is AOOSTAR's website. We got to consider where the driver's coming from. I don't necessarily want them from GitHub, and I don't necessarily want them from Manuals Plus. I want them from the manufacturer directly. So I could have typed AOOSTAR and searched their website, but I'm trying to be even more efficient and get directly to exactly what I want right on my search. And as we look through, we have a lot of different series of AOOSTARs, and we're looking for G-FLIP. I don't see a G-FLIP in here. T-box, N-box, T-box, Gem 10, Gem 12, screen control software. Well, we have a screen, but we don't have a Gen 12. We don't have any of these. BIOS updates, yes. I'm sure we're not going to have one here. I don't even see the G-FLIP. Oh, here it is. Here's a G-FLIP H255 BIOS that says it came out last November. What version is it versus what we have? Version 1.38. Okay. And to check our version, we can run CPU-Z or we could run the Intel driver updater. What's happening, Mara?
I just wanted to see that in person.
Oh, yeah, come take a look. So basically, let's say I'm at a client's and I want to know the version of the BIOS. I can go restart the computer, go into the BIOS, but I'd rather check it while I'm in Windows. So I'll just type CPU-Z because it's a very small free download. You like that screen?
That's super cute.
And then we'll just download the portable version of CPU-Z, which is this zip version right here. Close the ad, and download should start. Oh, I have to hit download now. Then it should start over here. It's very fast because it's small. We'll have it in just under 30 seconds. And then we'll execute the 64-bit. Oh, I have to extract all of it first. Extract it all. Now run it. And let's check our BIOS version. We'll get to the drivers after this. One problem at a time, please. All right, let's close all that out. Our version of BIOS is found under motherboard. Also, if you want to just verify your CPU, but we'll click on the motherboard tab and we have BIOS version 1.32. Because this is dated October and this one is dated November. So this is 138. Let's download it. Wants access to other apps. No, I don't think so. Lock. Downloaded the file as a 7-zip. And lately, and you may not know this, but as of late, Windows 11 will automatically unzip 7-zip files without having to download the 7-zip software. The 7-zip software is free and it's small. There's nothing wrong with it, but to have it built into the OS just saves a step. So if we open this, the way we would do that is we'll click on the yellow folder and then we'll click on downloads. Click on the 7-zip file, which is right here, and hit extract all. And that will extract the BIOS. And we have a WinFlash. That's what I'm guessing we have to run. So right click, we'll run that as administrator. I've never done this before. Let's see if it works. And nothing happened. Let's close everything out for a second. If we look at the WinFlash and we just open this with Notepad. Let's see, show more options. Oh, we'll just click edit. Why not click edit? What am I doing? Something's happening here. We can close CPU-Z out. I thought I clicked edit, so I don't know why the system is, I don't know what it's working on. Puzzling. Right click, can I end the task? Close the window, no? How about Control-Alt-Delete? I don't know what it's doing. I think I inadvertently clicked when I shouldn't have. Task Manager, Windows Explorer. Oh, there it goes. It was working that whole time. I wonder why it took so long. So you see this command right here, this AFU Win64. This is basically what it's doing, or what it's supposed to do. And sometimes the mini PC manufacturers, when they release BIOS updates, they're doing it through a batch file. But you can do it by hand if the batch file doesn't work. In our case, the batch file did not work. So how would we do this? Well, we need to make sure that we're in the directory that contains this file right here, this hcar. This is the BIOS flash program, this AFU Win64. And then this is the name of the file of the BIOS. And then these are the command line switches to program the BIOS correctly. I made a mistake on a Minisforum computer where I did not copy this. I just basically typed the command module with the file name, and the BIOS did not install correctly because these switches needed to be in there. And my mistake was just simply not highlighting that and hitting copy. So I didn't have to type it all in. Not only did I do it wrong, but I did it harder because I had to type it all in instead of just copying and pasting. And you'll see here there's a little Visual Basic script here, which may not run without the Visual Basic runtime. And it's not giving us any error. So that usually occurs where when they released it, it worked, but then through security updates, maybe it's a security concern and Microsoft shuts that down. I don't know. But you'd think they'd have enough presence of mind to check for any prerequisites needed for this to run. But regardless, if we run it by hand, then we don't need VB script. We'll use human script called our 2 fingers or our 2 hands and a mouse. And what we'll do is we'll go into this directory. So AFU win and HCAR. So basically we know, let me minimize this. If we take these files, we'll just highlight all of them, and let's copy them, and let's move them somewhere easy to find. So I'm going to just create a folder on the C drive, and we're going to call this BIOS, and let's paste everything in here, right? Then let's run a command prompt, CMD, run it as administrator, and let's go to that folder. That's why I didn't want to have to type in a bunch of slashes. Just put it right on the root, and now we're in there. Now at this prompt, that's where we put in that long command that I just had up on the screen. Let me pull that up again. Since I've copied and pasted, since then I've overwritten. So let's copy it again, Control Z, Control C, C for copy. We'll close all this just to clear clutter. And Control V to paste and enter. That should work now. It's a shame because it's supposed to be something you just click on and it runs, but it's clearly not working right, probably due to security updates from Windows. So they need to do a better job because this is still DOS-based. This is how we used to flash BIOSes in the 90s. As a result, it's very easy to put the wrong BIOS on because it doesn't have all the safeguards, safety rails that a modern BIOS update on systems that you buy from Dell or HP, or even systems you build with motherboards from the big 4 like ASRock, ASUS, Gigabyte, MSI. They won't let you put the wrong BIOS on. But because we're doing everything by hand, it'd be like sort of having a manual transmission and you want to start the car in 4th gear. You can't do that with an automatic transmission. It won't allow it. So this is like a manual transmission where you really need to understand what you're doing in order to not damage the vehicle. So this is very easy though. It's not rocket science. And if you just follow the steps I showed you, once we're done, we'll delete that BIOS directory and it's gone forever because you only put the BIOS in once. Unless there's a new update, there's no reason to ever do this again. It's important you leave the system alone while it's doing this process, because if you interrupt it, if you cut power, if you cause the system to be disturbed in any way, your BIOS update could fail, and that's on you. You caused it. That's not a warranty issue, although because we bought it from Amazon and Amazon allows returns for any reason, we have 30 days if we screw it up that we can send it back to Amazon. But AOOSTAR may not be so generous because that's not their fault. It kind of is their fault that their app doesn't work, meaning we took it upon ourselves, but we did not do that with their consent, and so therefore they would probably deny a warranty, because if their tech support guided you to do this, then it's their fault. But if you did it on your own without any guidance from them, you did that on your own and without their consent, and likely might put yourself in a position of having to pay a fee to fix it. So at least with Amazon, you have 30-day returns for any reason at all. So I'm doing this with full confidence that if I'm wrong and I screw this up, I can fall back to returning it. On the other hand, I wouldn't be doing this if I thought it was going to screw it up. I really believe this is the right way to do this when the app doesn't work. This should accomplish the exact same thing since we copied it letter for letter. And I have 100% confidence, 100% this is correct and it will work. I've got the right BIOS for the right machine installed in the right way. Mark my words, this is not going to go wrong if we leave it alone. If I'm wrong, which I'm not, but let's just pretend in an imaginary world where I'm wrong, then I can always return it to Amazon. And I can get my money back or ask for an exchange unit. Okay? But I want that latest BIOS on there, and I want to do it while I'm under that 30-day return period. But I also want to make sure I'm doing it right. I don't want to use that 30-day return period. It automatically reboots. You saw the forward switch, the / reboot. That was the instruction on the command line that we copied and pasted. If we just did it with the executable name and the file name of the BIOS, it probably would not succeed and we'd be in a world of hurt. So hopefully everything's going to restart now. Are you nervous? Do you think I did it right? Place your bets. You want to bet against me? It's your money. It's your pride. It's going to work fine. You must be patient and allow the new BIOS to take effect, so your reboot's going to take longer than normal. Too many people are impatient. They say, well, nothing's happened yet, so therefore something's wrong. No, not yet. It's too early to know yet. So we'll just continue to wait, and this could take, 3, 4, 5 minutes. It wasn't even a fraction of that, was it? It's already starting. It retrained the RAM, set the timings, restarted again with the new RAM timings in effect, and starts to boot with the new RAM timings. Every time we reset the BIOS, it has to retrain the RAM over and over, in between. So hopefully we'll get back to the Windows desktop here in just a second. There we go. Just like I said, not rocket science. When you do it right and you understand why you're doing it. This is why I don't like people following ritual. You have to understand why you're doing it a certain way. Because if you're just following exactly what I'm doing, but you're doing it for a different reason, you may not be successful. But if you're following it for the same reason, then it's probably going to be okay. But a lot of people, they don't put the nuance together. They just think it's a one-size-fits-all type deal, and they end up, pointing blame for their bad decision-making or misunderstanding. But you can always reach out to us for help, too, if you want some guidance on something that you're nervous about. With that, if we look at CPU-Z now, back over to downloads, let's get rid of the zip files, because we don't need that. We don't need that one anymore because we've already expanded them into their own folders. And if we're done with this, we'll delete it. But let's verify we're on 138 and that it worked. So back over to CPU-Z, and then back over to the motherboard tab, which should appear here in just a moment. Motherboard, version 138, just like that. Okay, beautiful. That means we can now forever delete the directory we made called BIOS. We will never need that ever again, unless you have multiple computers that are identical. And we don't need that download either. So we can delete that, because keeping it is potentially dangerous. If you forget what it is, you try and run it again, you're going to get yourself in trouble. Out of sight, out of mind, get rid of it. We're done with it. There's no reasonable excuse to keep that. Once it's in the system, it's hard-coded. You can't get it off. So there's no point in keeping the programming when it's already been permanently programmed. That's how BIOSes and firmware work. With that, let's go back to the AOOSTAR website, because we were looking for drivers, right? We were looking for the AOOSTAR G-FLIP drivers, and we were over here. And I wonder if this has a secondary name and we're not seeing it. It's not a Gem 10 or 12. And the R7 we have is a different model than this one, because this just says any version that has this CPU, which is not us. We don't have that. Interesting that it's taking us to Mega. Mega is a software sharing site by Kim.com. If you don't know about Kim.com, that's his legal name. He had it changed. He's originally from Germany. He's a German guy. Lives in New Zealand, because a lot of countries that have governments like the United States being run by corporations want him incarcerated for piracy, despite the fact he's not pirating anything. It's just pirates are using his sites for If I use a telephone to threaten somebody, you can't sue the phone company for that. But that's what these copyright, music and movie industries are trying to do to poor Kim.com, because he's profiting from people using his site. And if they're using it for illegal activity or not, he still profits the same. And the people who's having their stuff stolen feel like he shouldn't be able to keep those profits. We should get the profits. I can't disagree with him on it, but at the same time, he's also got all the expense and maintenance and servers and everything else. This is a tough one. But anyway, he lives in New Zealand where they won't extradite him, and he's a very wealthy man. And he's kind of like an anti-hero. He's not a good guy, and he's not a bad guy. He's somewhere in between. I'm curious, now that I've accidentally clicked over here, what this is right here is a product link for this device. It gives us all the specifications that we saw on YouTube already. But I wonder, yeah, OCuLink, you cannot hot plug OCuLink. You've got to make sure on any computer that has OCuLink, the machine must be turned off before you plug or unplug anything into your OCuLink port. It is not USB. And you could damage the computer, not just this computer, any computer with OCuLink, including your OCuLink dock. And the instructions will tell you very clearly, make sure the dock is off and the computer is off before plugging in anything or unplugging anything. Or you're rolling the dice. Same price here as on Amazon. That's good to see. And they do sell a version of this already with 24 gigs of RAM and 1 terabyte SSD for $309 more. It almost doubles the price. And there is a warehouse in the US that it ships from, and a warehouse in Germany, it looks like, that it ships from. But what about the drivers? Where did they put those? You think when you selected Barebone, a link would appear. I don't think it works that way. It's not even in the FAQ. Well, that is our unit. Download. It just took us back to where we were. Looking for G-Flip. All right, G-Flip BIOS, G-Flip BIOS. These are all BIOSes. Where's the drivers? Let's hit Control F and just search for the word flip. Oh, it does have a fingerprint sensor on it. Look at that. Fingerprint driver right there. Let's click on that. Back over to Mega. Download. I'm just curious, which of the device manager items is this one? Right click, device manager. Here's how I'm going to tell. We're going to open this up. DP install x64, double click. Oh, I guess we have to extract everything first. Let's extract it all. Let's try again. Close that one out. Move this one over. Now pay attention to see which one of these devices goes away. Will it be the encryption decryption controller? Will it be one of these PCI devices? Will it be unknown? Will it be any of them at all? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 all alphabetized. When we install this, I think we'll have one left. One less? No. Nope. All right. Well, maybe it was already put in from Windows Update. Let's go back to where we were. Still looking for the main drivers. Control F. Let me search for the word flip. There's all BIOSes. It says it found it 4 times. Well, 3 of them are BIOSes, 1, 2, 3, and the 4th one is the fingerprint driver. So where are the rest of my drivers, AOOSTAR? I'll tell you what, let's just try something here. Let's do the AMD Adrenalin software because it'll be newer getting it directly from AMD than getting it from the manufacturer, and we're going to need it anyway. Accept the cookies, download the software that now says it's a driver. Is it a driver or is it software? I don't know. I don't think it's software. I think it's a driver. We'll run that, and that should provide us the graphics driver and the chipset driver. And even though Windows Update claims to have provided it, it may not be this new. We also won't get the interface, which I suppose is the software side, right? The actual Adrenalin software that helps control and monitor the Adrenalin drivers. So yeah, there's the chipset driver. There's 26.5.2. And whether or not you want to help AMD improve your experience is up to you. We'll hit accept and express install. And we should need a reboot after this, and then come back and check the device manager. I think we're still going to be missing our Wi-Fi drivers. And other than that, everything else may just fall into line. But Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, we're going to have to figure those out. And I'll show you how to do that here in a moment. But one thing at a time. Let's chew the food we have in our mouth and swallow it before we take our next bite, please. So stand by as we follow this process and then see ultimately what the results are. Because there could be more than just the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. I just don't honestly know. And if that's the case, then that means we really don't need drivers from AOOSTAR. So I'm not sure yet. Other than the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, that one I'm pretty sure we're going to have to grab from AOOSTAR. However, I want to try and do this in the most traditional, standardized way, industry standards first. And if we can't accomplish that intuitively, most end users would just reach out to support, right, and be guided. But what we would do then would be to find a similar model that uses the same processor. Whether or not it has a screen, I don't care. But if it's got the same CPU, there's a good chance somebody else makes a similar machine and we'll download the drivers from them. But hopefully we won't have to do that. You know, what's surprising is AOOSTAR has done such a great job with their website and their downloads. This is a pretty significant omission or oversight on their part for a machine they sell as bare bones. Anybody who buys the bare bones is going to need the drivers. So what is everybody else doing? And why hasn't this already been addressed to them? Why haven't they already addressed it? You'd think by now somebody would have reached out to support and asked for drivers. And support would have told the technical department and they would have updated the website. But from what I'm gathering and seeing here, that has not happened. It's like they've got every machine up there but the one we've got. I'm going to close this. I'm going to close this. I want to go back and type in, here's what I'm going to, since we're waiting for install anyway, AOOSTAR G-FLIP drivers Reddit. Just curious if anybody's had this discussion. Fingerprint sensor fix. Yeah, I never used the fingerprint sensor, but now I'm going to guess that's why the power button is on top like that. It's that it doubles. Typically, that's on a mini PC pretty frequent that the power button doubles as a fingerprint sensor. The fact that we lost video is because of video drivers installing right now. So give that a second for the old driver to be turned off and disabled, which cancels our video. The new driver then is activated, that turns our video back on. That's why the screen blanked out. In fact, by now it's probably done, right? Because the video's come back, the update is completed, and we can hit close, and let's see if it wants a reboot. And we still have Device Manager open. Look at this. Look at this. See all these software components that weren't there before? And notice everything's filled in except the generic Bluetooth adapter and the network controller. So we're only missing the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, that's all. If I close this and reopen it again, watch what it looks like now. Should just have two things missing. That means that's really the only thing we need from AOOSTAR. Maybe the fingerprint driver, maybe it doesn't work. Or maybe it was working fine. I don't know. Like I said, I don't use one ever. So all that remains is this network controller. So I can be more specific with my search. See how much faster I got a result? Oh, this guy is not useful, not helpful. And this guy looks like he's hooking up something USB, so not exactly what I was looking for. There's an instruction manual, fingerprint sensor. It says now available. So apparently this unit just came out at the end of January. It's only been out for 4 months. But still, 4 months is a long time to have customers complain they can't find the drivers for the Wi-Fi and provide the driver package. So I don't know where we're supposed to find it. You remember when let me come back to camera 1 for a second. Remember when I showed you the inside and I said maybe you guys can see the and read the Wi-Fi card? Did any of you catch that? Otherwise, I can rewind my video and look. Bajin guy said he bought one of the USB to Ethernet cables that I use to use on his wife's laptop since it doesn't have an Ethernet cable. Yeah, it's great. David Graham says, please don't brick it, read the instructions. Who do you think writes the instructions, David? Do you think that some mystical being in the sky writes the documentation? It's people with experience that write the documentation. The books that you read to learn, I've written some of those books. The point that I'm trying to make is your answer of how important it is to read the instructions is based on your experience as an individual. If you're an individual that writes books on the subject, you're probably less likely going to read a book somebody else wrote on the subject. And if things are so different that my expertise in this industry and that particular subject field is so wrong, one would argue that's not on me, it's them that's doing something so different that no reasonable person would know to do that. So in some ways, ignorance is bliss. When you're following directions, you don't know if they're standard or not. For me, they're all basically the same. When you've been doing this as long as I've been doing it, it doesn't matter if I'm playing a piano or a synthesizer, if I were a piano player. It doesn't matter if I'm cooking in cast iron or Teflon or stainless steel if I'm a cook. They're all kind of the same. You shouldn't have to read the instructions for how do I cook in Teflon versus cast iron. You should know. And anything so extreme that would cause damage to the Teflon, you wouldn't be doing that anyway as a professional chef. You wouldn't allow your pan to get that hot regardless. So just that basic knowledge means it would probably be best for you, if you feel that way, to read the documentation, and I encourage it. But what I'm testing, and the reason why I don't read it, is to see if they're following standard operational procedure that's been in place over 30 years. And so far, they are. However, and I want to remind you, I have a 30-day return period for Amazon. So I can be very bold with no customer waiting and no money at stake from somebody else's money. It's the channel money. And It would be like me saying, you should not learn how to get through this level of the game. You should watch a walkthrough. You shouldn't read the whole book. You should just go to the last page and read the whodunit. You've ruined the entire spirit of the experience by getting all the spoilers in cheats. That's not fair gameplay. And you're welcome to do that if you want to. I'm not going to do that. If my experience is pointless compared to somebody else who has no experience, then why bother? Why bother building experience if it doesn't benefit you in the future? That's a complete waste of time. And once you've built the experience, you start reading the directions and instructions, and they all basically say the same thing. You're wasting your time. Let's just get on with it. So what I do as a professional versus what you should do is really your discretion versus my discretion. But sometimes, you know, I do get stuck and I do have to pull documentation up. But that's a last ditch for me. 35 years in this industry, nothing should surprise me. I should be able to figure it out. It shouldn't be that different from everything else. They didn't reinvent a wheel here. So, anyway. Andy says he just updated a BIOS on a minis forum yesterday and he just had to run the batch file. Very good. Yeah, sometimes the batch files don't work right, but I'm glad minis forums got theirs working. Gary Tatum says, for what it's worth, AI says it's an Intel AX200 or a Realtek. Well, if it's an Intel, then all we have to do is download the Intel driver assistant. It won't cause any harm, even though this is an AMD computer. Let's try it. Let's see if AI is correct. So let's come over to the desktop. And I appreciate that suggestion because it won't cause us any harm. We know we have the Intel network interface card. So at the very least, we can check and make sure we have the latest drivers for that. Because we got those from, where did we get those from? Windows Update? Let's try it. Let's go to Intel Driver Assistant. And download now. This one we have to allow. This is the only time I ever click allow because it needs to transmit the specifications of the computer, and that requires permission because of the privacy concerns. Now that we've downloaded it, let's install it. So we'll come over here to Downloads. And there's our file. Open it. See, this is a prerequisite. It needs this, what's this called? Is it a framework or is it Visual Basic? It's the desktop runtime for something. And apparently, you know, that Visual Basic script on AOOSTAR's BIOS update needed something we didn't have. That's why I ran it by hand. Anyway, let's close this out. Just let's clear out the clutter. Let's skip that. Everything is kosher here. Clear out all these messages. That's that. This is still installing. And in just a moment here, we hit launch. And let's see if it finds an Intel wireless card. Well, we don't have any graphics. No supported driver or software updates are available. So like I said, it didn't hurt anything. It finds our SanDisk Extreme flash drive, which is my Windows installer that I never unplugged. I should probably unplug that. Memory says 14 gigs. That's because 2 gigs is reserved for the video that's built in. It needs RAM. But even our BIOS version is exposed here as well, the 1.38. So this is an alternate way that we can see our BIOS version without going into the BIOS. We're using CPU-Z. So even when we're not getting any drivers, this can still be a useful tool. But unfortunately, it's not apparently a Wi-Fi card from Intel, or that adapter should have seen it. I appreciate the suggestion, Gary. Sometimes the Wi-Fi cards can change, so the AI may not be wrong. But let's do this. Let me go back to my video, the video you're watching, and let me scroll through it and see where I have this machine opened. Because it's funny, I can see it better on the screen playing back my own video than I can see it in person. So here I am holding it in front of the camera. And I'm just watching this myself. You guys can rewind it yourselves. And I want to see where I'm holding it to the Wi-Fi card. Oh, wait a minute. There it is right there. The Wi-Fi card says it is made by, just says M.2 NVMe SSD. That number's not ringing any bells. And I'm not seeing a manufacturer. So let's just search for it. M.2 7925B. MediaTek. So MT is MediaTek. And unfortunately, MediaTek doesn't give us drivers like Intel and Realtek do. They tell you you have to get it from the manufacturer, and the manufacturer is not making them available. It's supposed to be a Wi-Fi 7 wireless network adapter, even though the documentation online says that's Wi-Fi 6, doesn't it? Now, there is a download from Lenovo for this driver. Interesting. Dated April 9th of 2026. That's just over a month ago. It's pretty new. I don't see a download link for it. All right. So what I'm looking at here, just in case you're curious, is I'm on Lenovo's website with the link that, I just did a search. And I just typed in the first couple numbers, so it could have the wrong one. And it says, oh, by the way, you can get that from Lenovo, since MediaTek won't give it to us. But you notice there's no download here. But this has the same date, so I don't know what this is for, because this looks like the same file size. So we'll download this one. Oh boy, just cancel that. Will it let us download it without a check? I really should be doing this on the other computer, right? There's no point in me downloading this on the streamer. Then I have to figure out how to get it over, which I guess I could just use a flash drive. What the heck, let's try it again. Download. Okay, it did download up here. So, let me come back over here. Kind of doing this the hard way. Let me grab a flash drive. I know I've got a smaller flash drive. Here, this one will work. Let's plug it into the streamer. And let's copy that file onto the flash drive, and we'll plug the flash drive and copy the file back. It may even be the wrong file. That's why AOOSTAR needs to provide this driver. You don't have to guess. But we're going to guess for you. So if you decide to buy one of these, all you have to do is learn from our experience here that we're demonstrating live on camera. This is my best educated guess in a moment. Again, being on site at a client's, this is what we would do. This is what I would do. And let me go back to my downloads folder, and let's right click and copy, and then go to the flash drive, which is empty, right click and paste. It's a very small file, so it'll just take a second. Even if you have an old slow flash drive, it's gonna copy over real quick because it's very small. With that, we'll take the flash drive out and plug it in over here. Old school networking right there. That's what that is. And then let's jump back to this computer. And we'll go to the Windows Explorer, over to the flash drive. What a bizarre file name that is. I could just run this off the flash drive. Well, no, because if it's good, then I want to keep it. Let's go to downloads. We'll paste it over off of the flash drive. And then I'll unplug the flash drive since it's empty now, since we did a cut and a paste, right? Set that aside. Let's double click. Yeah, I don't care about the SAM data warnings on that flash drive. There's nothing important on it. That's all that was on it. Install. Install. Oh, install, install. Maybe one's the Wi-Fi and one's the Bluetooth. And I'm assuming I got the right network card for this. We'll find out here in just a moment. It looked like it was running twice. Let's right click, go to Device Manager. No, that is, well, that's interesting. It installed the Wi-Fi driver, didn't it? There it is. But it did not install the Bluetooth adapter. That's fascinating because they're usually built in together. I'm curious if I just have it automatically look. That's probably not going to help. I'm fairly certain this is going to come up empty. So we're getting a security update for .NET. That's probably the .NET that installed for the Intel Update Assistant, and now it's got an update to that. And that's why we didn't get it earlier. That would explain it. But it's a small download, and it installs pretty quickly as well. So we'll let that finish. In the meantime, as far as, yeah, well, that's a terrible file name. We should rename that to MediaTek Wi-Fi 7. That way I know what it is. Let's go back to the Device Manager. And under the Bluetooth, let's delete it. And let it refresh. Probably not going to help. It didn't. We're still in the same position. Let's do the driver check, and this time let's update the driver manually by pointing to the download directory. Nope. Okay, remember when we clicked this, it asked if we wanted to install or extract. We need to extract it in order to see the contents, to see if there's a Bluetooth driver in there. My guess is it's not in there. Let's extract only. Shoot, I wasn't paying attention. I thought it was defaulting in here. Yeah, I should have paid better attention. Let's do it again. Extract only. Where's it extracting to? C:\drivers. Where'd you get that idea? That's the folder I would use. All right, that's all I needed to know. So let's go back to C drive. Under driver, there it is. Let's just cut that and paste it into downloads where it should have been. And then to avoid any further confusion, I don't like this being an executable file. Let's get rid of it, because we have all the contents right here now. I don't need all these subfolders. So let's just take these two things, put them right here, and then get rid of this. Get rid of this. No, not this. Get rid of this. That ugly thing. Now we've got the drivers and the driver setup. I suspect I don't see Bluetooth in here. I think this is just Wi-Fi. So now if we update the driver and we tell it to browse this folder we just extracted to, which is this one. Okay. Yeah, it's not there. Interesting. I'm used to the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth being packaged together, and not surprised that Lenovo has separated it out, because they can. So everything is great except for the Bluetooth driver. That's where we're stuck, and it's that same MediaTek controller. So, what did I say that was? It was a MediaTek 7925 or something Bluetooth driver. Oh, here's a universal Bluetooth driver. I don't want that. Bluetooth driver, also from Lenovo. Let's grab that one. Since the other one worked, I'm going to hit cancel and hit download again. Now it downloaded. Open it, run it. Next. We can do the extract or the install. Let's just do the install. Finish. I don't know why it's doing the install twice. It's definitely a Lenovo thing, whatever that is. Okay, now, did that fix it? Sure did. All right, so now we know. Okay, so we'll go over here to the Windows Explorer. Whoops, didn't mean Open Edge. We'll go to the Windows Explorer, back over to Downloads, and we're going to call this MT7925 Bluetooth drivers. Then I'm going to highlight, copy that, come over here. Oops. Because this is the Wi-Fi drivers. That is so weird that they separated them. And then let's extract this just so I keep all of my ducks in a row. Let's do the extraction. Again, it's going to put it back in C:\drivers. That's fine, because here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to the C drive, go to the drivers folder. See all that mess? We're going to take all that out, because that's all we need. And we're going to go back to the downloads folder. New folder, and I'm just going to copy these files in here. And then I just need to label it, so we can copy that so I don't have to retype the whole thing. And those are the Bluetooth drivers. So we really didn't need anything from AOOSTAR, but that would have made life easier if they would have provided it. And then this Mako, this is the fingerprint sensor. That's our CPU-Z. That's the AMD Adrenalin software. The Intel software was a complete waste of time. So let's uninstall. We'll go to Settings and Apps. So what I love about clean software installs from reputable manufacturers like Intel, you don't need to use an uninstallation tool. You'll actually risk system stability if you're going to try and outsmart the uninstaller. Just use the built-in uninstaller for the Intel Driver Support Assistant, and it will safely remove everything it needs to. If it's leaving anything behind, it's because you don't need to remove those items, or removing those items could have a consequence, which not likely. But this is the way it's supposed to be uninstalled, and you should not be trying to smack it with a sledgehammer with Revo or some other system utility. That is just caveman-like behavior. That's like, I don't understand how computers work, so I'm just going to use Revo for everything because it's better. If you think using Revo for everything is better, then you don't really understand how Windows works. You might understand computers, but you don't understand Windows. If Revo is absolutely required for something, there are occasions, And only then should it be used. And even then, just a portable version. Don't install it. But you do you. It's your computer. I'm just giving you advice as a professional computer technician on how you could avoid ever having to ask me for help for situations you could have avoided. Now, when we look at everything, we should be really happy. Everything in the system should look good. And it does. Everything in the device manager should look good. Perfect. And finally, I wonder under security devices, is that biometric? Yeah, I wonder. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to look more into it. I'm not sure this has a fingerprint sensor. According to the drivers, it has it, but I don't know where it would be in the device manager. But I don't see any markings on the case that suggest that that button's a fingerprint sensor, because usually there'll be a picture of like a hand with a finger next to a button. That's a fingerprint sensor. But it could be there. I don't know. We'd have to use Windows Hello to test it, I guess. You know, maybe there's a system utility for that, just on the web. How to test fingerprint sensor in Windows 11. Let's see what it says. Press Windows I to open settings. So Windows I and open settings. Okay, and then what? Select accounts and sign-in options. Okay, we'll go to accounts. Go to sign-in options. Well, is it going to make me use Windows Hello? Fingerprint recognition. This option is currently unavailable. You must add a password. Oh, I don't want to. Just wanted to see if the fingerprint sensor. Hey, that's not cool. I saw it. Don't tell me it's not there after you showed it to me, you liar. How to fix it, how to enable it. Is it going to make me set it something? All right, you've got to set up a password for it. I guess that makes sense, though. I just was looking for a test, like a webcam test, you know. Let's set up a PIN. Use a PIN. Okay, that's fine. No, you have to add a password. Okay, password. Use a password. Let's add a password. I hate this, by the way. I hope you're happy making me do this. Next. Password hint. Duh. Okay. Finish. Now, set up the fingerprint sensor. Get started. Touch the fingerprint sensor. Okay, so at this point, let me show you what I'm doing here. Let's bring out camera 1. Get it smaller. Okay, so we turn this my way. Touch the sensor. Oh, look at that. Am I showing the world my fingerprint? Sure, why not? Yeah, that's a fingerprint sensor, all right, and it's working. Now we can set up a PIN. We can have a password and a fingerprint and a PIN. Let's set up a PIN. Why not? 1111. That sounds good to me. Verify 1111. Okay. First, verify your account password. PASSWORD. Okay. New PIN 1111. Confirm 1111. Well, I didn't want to change the PIN. Okay, in theory, when I reset the computer, it should require a login where I can enter a password, a PIN, or a fingerprint. So if my fingerprint doesn't work, or I can't remember my password, I could do the PIN, or if I don't remember the PIN. You know what I'm getting at? There's 3 different ways that you can log in. 3 different ways for you to forget how to log in. Okay, so let me move camera 1 out of the way because I can't see the buttons. Let's move it over here now. And now when I go to the start button, I should be able to see. Yeah, I needed to get over here. Let's restart. And when it restarts and it asks me to log in, I'll put my finger on the power button. It should just log me in. And that'll keep everybody else out. I think that's a pain in the butt. But if you're in an area where you're worried about security or you don't want people on your computer, you know, as a kid, I always kept my room door closed and said, stay out of my room. Well, this is kind of the equivalent to that. Stay out of my room. So hopefully this will pop up and ask us to log in. There we go. And that same screen is displayed here as well. All right. Now, in theory, if I just touch this, no, I got to click first. I got to wait to be asked. Okay. Why is that not working? Wants the password first. There should be a way. That's our Wi-Fi network. This will be for rebooting. Escape, is it? How do I get back? I said I don't use this. I don't have any clients that use this. But normally, you just like a phone, you just touch the sensor and it should release. But I'm missing a piece here somewhere. So anyway, so I'll just do this for right now. Password, because it's not offering me the PIN or anything. That's what I don't get. So password PASSWORD, enter. Now let me do Windows L. That should lock the screen. And yeah, the Windows Hello, what does it say? Up in the top right. Oh, that's just about the photo. I thought that was a little fingerprint up there because everything's real small on my screen. So let me get rid of this, camera 1, so I can see this whole screen, because there might be something I'm missing. I can't see it. Bear with me for a second. Okay, now I see the screen. So if I push enter, it's not offering the PIN or the fingerprint option. So there may be another setting I'm missing, but at least we verified the sensor works. So maybe back in settings, got to use the right mouse. Settings, and then over to accounts, your info, sign-in options. No, don't want any of that. And I assumed I turned it on by, you know, putting the password in. But it doesn't seem to show me a level of priority what comes first, the PIN, the password, or the fingerprint. Swipe and tap your favorite photo to unlock your device. That's new. This just seems like a multiple choice, multiple guess if you could do that. Password, sign in with account password, security key, sign in with a security key. Well, that's what a fingerprint would be. No, that one's like a YubiKey. That's something. This would be like the Windows fingerprint recognition. Use your fingerprint. We have to do it again. Did I not save it? Get started. Touch the fingerprint sensor. Okay, let's tap it a few times. Add another finger. No, create a pin. We already did. Set up the pin. 1111. Okay. Verify your account password, which is password. Now we'll set up a pin again. I just did 1111 and confirm 1111. Your pin can't be a common number or pattern. Oh, that's probably where I screwed up. Okay, 0011. How about that? We'll talk in binary. Ha! Now it's added. Okay, now let's sign out. We shouldn't have to reboot. This will just be faster if we go to user, sign out. That would be like a reboot. We're back here. I push enter. There we go. Now I just put my finger over the button, and there it is. So if you're interested in that, that's how you do it. I've never demonstrated it before because I've never done it before. I've always known the theory. Because I have a phone. It's not that different from your phone. It's just there's a couple steps, like the PIN and the password. And when it's asking me for the password and I'm typing in the PIN, that's because I'm not focusing on what the screen is saying. That's user error. There you go. First time for everything. Now I know. Now you know if you didn't already. I don't like that, but there it is. The screen is currently set to apparently be a duplicate screen. If we right-click just to explore the options, it's probably seeing a monitor that we can change. Let's see. We'll go to display settings. Yeah, and it shows 1 and 2 are duplicated. But we could separate these out and extend them, or only show monitor 1, only show on monitor 2. So that's just like having a second monitor, all the same screens, and it defaults to just duplicating. But if I wanted to, I could extend the display, and then if I opened up, what happened? It made my other screen the main screen. I didn't want that. Now I got to look at a little tiny screen. Are you kidding me? If you don't click anything after about 15 seconds, it reverts. Show only on monitor 1. How about that? Okay, I see what the problem is. It considers the built-in screen to be monitor 1. Hence the confusion. Very good. So I'll just wait a few seconds and it'll time out and put us back that way we were. But what I was going to demonstrate is we can extend the displays, which I can still do. And then I could play the video on the small screen while having my desktop on what'll be monitor 2 and have the video running on monitor 1. That's what identify is for, by the way. If I just would hit the identify button, it'll show you that which monitor you're on. I take it back. This isn't helping us. It's not. It's showing the same thing on both screens. We'd have to have the screen separated first by extending the displays, and then once we do that, I have to turn the unit facing me. We do it one more time. Extend, and then I want to make this my main monitor. So I hit that button, this button here. So now the primary display numbers, screen numbers 1 and 2 are being displayed as they should. But I want to reverse them. I want monitor 2 to be monitor 1 and monitor 1 to be monitor 2 for my example here. So let me get on my bigger glasses so I can read this. And I want to click on monitor 2 and make this my main display as the checkbox. And then I can set it if it's right or left, is the screen to the left or to the right? Is it, I can drag the screen around. I'll just leave it to the left for right now. Okay, so now I have this configured for this demonstration. I'm not sure I'd keep it this way, but if I bring up YouTube, I don't need these massive magnifiers on. Let's bring up YouTube. And let's pull up CareyHolzman. Today's video. And let's drag it over here. I want to close that window back there. And I want to make this full screen. Then we'll come down to, gosh, I need those other glasses. Anytime I've got to look at this little screen, I need to magnify it. That's what I wanted there. And I can even close the chat room to go full screen video only, no disrespect. And skip the ad. Okay. So just to give you a better view of that, we'll go on camera 1, full screen. Not getting a very good, let me try camera 2. Not getting a good angle. So now I've got the desktop up and the second monitor is displaying the YouTube video full screen. So there's an example of how it could be used. Not necessarily critical, but could be fun. Or you can leave it as a duplicate display, or you can just fold it down, don't even use it. You can disable it by simply saying you only want to use monitor 1, or in this case, sorry, monitor 2. And then this will just go blank, which will effectively put it in a standby mode. Now, is this a touch screen? I don't think this is a touch screen. No. So we might have this titled wrong. I think we were under the impression that this was a touch screen, but I can't drag anything. This is just a monitor. This is not a touch screen. Okay? So we'll have to correct the title. And we're clearly behind on the video feed because we should be seeing, there it is. All right, that's better. It's about a couple minutes behind on the live feed. Oh, that's freaky. Very freaky. Back over to camera 1. This is disturbing. See two different, I have 3 different feeds. I have my OBS feed, I've got my live feed, and I've got the delayed live feed here. This is confusing the heck out of me. It's like going back in time a few minutes and going back in time again and having it all playing at the same time. So let me get rid of this. Let me hit escape. Would it be escape? Just double click. Let's close that. We go right click properties. Actually, we can do this back on the main screen. You can watch what I'm doing. If we come back over here, my mouse, there it is. Right click, display settings. Now that just opened up on the wrong monitor, so let me drag it back over. I could leave it here, but it's so hard for me to read. Let's drag it back. And instead of extending, let's put it back to duplicate because I like that better. Keep the changes. Okay, anxiety over. All right, there's all kinds of ways to waste your time with nonsense. I mean, there could be a practical application for this, but I'm not sure what it is. But for 320 bucks, that's a really fair deal considering that level of processor you're getting. Now, with regards to any crystal disk mark, that'll be dependent on which drive you're installing. And with regards to, you know, Cinebench and heat, I think we have time to do that. It'll take about half an hour, but let's just get it done. Go full screen. What I want off of my utilities flash drive will be my VLC installation and Uncle Carey's Windows 11 optimizer. Yes. And then under PC testing software, hardware info, whoops, hardware info, and Cinebench, and Crystal Disk Mark, and Crystal Disk Info. The reason I want to pull Crystal Disk Info is I want to make sure the drive is operating in Gen 4x4. I already know what disk I put in there, but I can tell from the Crystal Disk Mark results, but Crystal Disk Info will get us there faster. So let's just bring up Crystal Disk Info right quick and get that out of the way. We should see PCIe Gen 4x4 on both supported and current. So yeah, current mode is Gen 4x4. Supported, the drive supports up to Gen 4x4. Everything's perfect. Let's bring up hardware info 32. Sorry, well, it's really hardware info 64 we want to run. 832 is the version. All right, let's go to setting sensors only and start. Close this out. Close that out. And find our temps right here under CPU cores. There should be an arrow to the right there. There's all of the cores and where our temps are right now, where the minimum temps have been since we just started the app, and where our maximum temps, what are the peaks we've hit. We'll move that over. Let's bring up Cinebench, double click. It takes a second to load and it'll give us the agreement, the license agreement here in just a second. It's a big application. Accept, start. And let's bring our temps back up. Drag this down a little bit so we can keep an eye on it. All right, and we're right there. We're going to watch this row. And we're off to the races. I'll bring back camera 1 now and put it somewhere out of the way. Let's drop it this way. There we go. Now with that, let me get over to the chat room. Since we've got everything resolved, I will write to AOOSTAR as well as leave an Amazon review regarding determining the location of the Wi-Fi Bluetooth driver. There's probably an easier way, but that should be provided by the manufacturer. So maybe it's an oversight, maybe we're not looking in the right place, but we shouldn't have to look that hard. We did suffer a bit of drop frame there for a second, so if you saw a buffer or a stutter, that wasn't you, that's something between our connection, but it's been really good today. The last couple days, it's been a little, it was rough on Wednesday, so much that we had to cancel Wednesday's show. We rescheduled for Thursday. Thursday still had a little bit of an issue, but maybe 8% of the problem we saw on Wednesday. And today is still a little bit of a problem, but we are about 99% better. Just have a little bit. So whatever people at the ISP or YouTube are doing, it does seem like they're improving whatever the problem is that affected us. There's nothing we can do about it. However, just to let you know, that's the technical side of things that we can't control, YouTube's technical side, and we can't control our ISP. One of them is causing this. It's not us. It's also not you. Chris Johnson, now a member 48 months, right on. Thank you, Chris. He says, hey, hello, Carey, Mara, and my friends in chat. Happy 4 years. Right on. Yeah, happy 4 years. I love it. Thank you so much for supporting us this whole time. Andy says the little screen's a nice little gimmick, but he wouldn't pay extra for it. Well, how much would this be without the screen? $320 is pretty cheap already for the level of hardware you're getting. You know, 2.5 gig LAN plus a Wi-Fi 7 adapter. If it's just a few dollars difference, why not have it? You know, that's the way I think of it. Andy says our Cinebench multi-core test should result in numbers between 15 and 16,000. I don't know where Andy's getting that, but it sounds right. We'll see what we get. Remember that $320 does not include RAM, storage, or an operating system. Those are the times we're living in right now. And we'll look back on it and say, wow, remember when that was doubling the cost of computers just to add RAM and storage? Aren't we glad those days are over? We'll have that conversation soon enough. Just give it time. See what my temps are right now. What are we looking at? 81 is our max. That's really, really good. Really good. We're almost 5 minutes into this 10-minute test, so the test doesn't actually run until the clock reaches 0. All this is warming everything up to make sure it's nice and exhausted. It'd be like having, it's like if I was your coach and I said, look, before I time you running around the lap, I want you to run 10 laps, and on your 11th lap, I'll time it. You'd say, that's just mean. Yeah. That's what benchmarks are to a computer. They're evil. they're forcing this computer to work well beyond a reasonable sense. If anybody was running a computer this hard all the time, they underbought. It'd be like if you've got a little 4-cylinder, low horsepower car and you're towing a big boat behind it and the engine's just revving up and you're barely moving forward. That car is not going to last very long because you did not pair them together very well. It's not a problem with the car. It's not a problem with the boat. It's a problem with the person who made that decision. That's where you fix the problem. Andy says his numbers are coming from his own experience with similar CPUs. I got you. All right. I didn't know where you're pulling those numbers from. I didn't know if you had a website we could look at, but all good. Appreciate it. Lorshak says hello. Says it'd be a perfect system for his car. I don't get why people would put a computer in a car, especially since most modern cars already have computers in them anyway. But to each their own. I mean, I've seen people buy a brand new car and start tearing it apart. I don't get it. If you buy a brand new car, leave it alone. It's already set up for you. Otherwise, go buy a used car and tear it up all you want. But of course, he did not mention used or new, but regardless, I wouldn't be putting a computer in one either way. You should be driving. What an idea. I would be upset if I walked into an airplane cockpit and the pilots were watching Seinfeld. Everyone. Is anybody flying the plane? Hello? Oh, he says for the rear seats. Oh, well, I don't have rear seats. Basically, my car is a two-door car. There's a rear seat, but nobody wants to sit in it. I guess if you're a family or, you know, you've got kids or whatever, that's a different story. But at my age, I would just buy a car with like an SUV that has 4 doors and the screens are already built into the seats. Because I've got kids, I would have all the other expenses that go with having kids. But that's just me, and I couldn't be bothered, to be honest. Now, back before you could buy a car with screens, or they were really, really expensive, and they were on the, you know, the luxury models, I would have done it myself. But now they're throw them in basically. Very little additional expense for what you're paying for the car, and it's all professionally done. It's not a hack. But you absolutely can put something like this in the car and use it. That's a great example that you gave, and one that just doesn't involve any daily routine of my life, nor of anybody I know. Mitch doesn't have kids. And the people that I do know that have kids, they're all grown up and moved out by my age. But valid point, regardless. I'm just explaining why it didn't occur to me. I don't live in that world. All those people lined up at the elementary school in the morning to drop off or in the afternoon to pick up their kids. Not in my life. Never, not once. So I don't deal with it. So I don't think about it. Let's see. Jason Wyrick says hello. There's Tom Jackson joining us. Johnny Weld says hello. Shane Perkins and Filament on Fire. Very good. Very good. Speaking of Mitch Morrison, there he is. Have no fear, he says. Mitch is here. Welcome in, Mitch. It's going to be pizza time soon. I think Mitch and I have one of our favorite pizza places to go to on his side of town, which used to be Studio B side of town, but not anymore. So we don't get to go as often, but it's totally worth the trip for some great Neapolitan-style Italian pizza baked in a brick oven at 800 degrees. Hey, Sable the cat. Sable the cat, I'm calling you. Please don't scratch up the walls. You have a scratching post 2 feet away. Please use it. She's looking at me like, meow? Don't you talk back. I don't know what she's saying, and she has no clue what I'm saying. There you go. You're walking towards it. Now use it. There it is. Scratch. Scratch to your heart's content. Go. Do it. Get it out of your system. No, now she's walking away. I think we're having a communication problem. Does anybody here speak Cantonese? I don't think it's a communication problem. I think she's just choosing to ignore me. I think she understands everything just fine. She's a cat. That's what cats do. Montana said, I'm still using my Xeon. Yeah, no reason not to. It was a very high-end and expensive processor. It won't go obsolete as quickly. You know, the more you spend, the longer it lasts, generally speaking, with computers. And let's see, looks like our score is done. Let me go full screen and see what it says. We're at 15,225. Andy called it. We're between 15 and 16,000. Our highest temp reached was 83.3. That's not bad. Let's do our single core test. We'll get those final results. That's another 10 minutes of warm up. And then we'll wrap it up for today. So if you have any questions, this will be the Q&A part of the video where I'm mostly paying attention to the chat room, whereas most of this video I've been paying attention to the desktop screen. And I'm not really hearing the fans on this at all this whole time. It's warm. It's pretty warm. Both the top and the bottom are warm, but it's not overheating. I do feel hot air coming out of it. I'm done with my utilities flash drive, so I can get rid of that. We don't need that plugged in anymore. It gives me something to do while I'm waiting. The fact you've got USB 4, OCuLink, and 2.5 gig LAN with Wi-Fi 7 on this at $320, I feel like the screen is a giveaway. But maybe without the screen it'd be $40 cheaper. Maybe not. I mean, there's other manufacturers selling less for more. Just saying. I am going to leave a review on Amazon about the Wi-Fi drivers and drivers in general about this unit, and I'll probably put the unboxing with or without audio. Amazon is so difficult with, if I take the audio out, they'll approve it. If I leave the audio in, sometimes they say I'm exposing personal information, but they won't tell me where in the video I supposedly do this. And I think they're misunderstanding the information, and I cannot correct them. They only correct me, and they do it anonymously, which means that if 2 different Amazon employees look at it and one flags it as violating a standard, sometimes I can resubmit the exact same video with no changes, and somebody else evaluates it and they approve it. It's Amazon system is so screwed up. The worse you make the video, the more likely Amazon will approve it. If your video is short, no audio, not good in frame, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how terrible it is. But the better you make it, in my opinion, the clearer and more concise you are with your information, the more likely Amazon will say you're not allowed to say what you said, but they won't tell you what you said or where it is in the video. So you can just keep guessing and resubmitting until finally they approve it and never really understand what the problem was. And they'll just say, well, all you gotta do is read the standards and see what you did wrong. I've read the standards. I think you're the one doing something wrong, but they won't talk to you. The communication is one way only. You follow our rules and do what we say. Don't question us. We're never wrong. And appease us, or don't post. So what I've learned to do on Amazon is to make the videos as short and as lacking audio as possible. Give no opinion. Say nothing. Show the product size. Show everything the way it's boxed. And upload it. It's a pretty terrible and useless video, in my opinion. But Amazon will pay me a commission regardless if the video is good or bad. It doesn't matter. There's no thumbs up, there's no thumbs down, there's no way for anybody to comment. They cannot disparage my video, they being people on Amazon. There's no way for you to respond to me. There's no way for you to punish me with a thumbs down. None of that is on Amazon. So if you were to, let's say you're looking at this AOOSTAR computer, and let's say I have an unboxing. That's a terrible video. It's 30 seconds long and it tells you nothing. It just shows me taking the components out without any explanation of what everything is. And you go, well, that was stupid. What a complete waste of time. There's nothing you can do about it. And here's the kicker. If you still decide to buy the mini PC because you watched my video on Amazon, I will make a commission from that. And if you loved my video and that caused you to, or convinced you to buy it, I make the same commission either way. There's no incentive for anybody making videos on Amazon to try and provide all the information without fighting with Amazon that we're exposing something we're not supposed to, including price. Even value is a touchy subject. You're allowed to say it in a certain way, but if you don't say it the right way, they won't allow it. So if you just don't say anything at all, your chances of approval go way up. You're paid the same. If the video's 30 minutes long, if the video's 30 seconds long, you're paid the same. If your video is helpful or your video is useless, you're paid the same. So Amazon gives me the ability to make some of the worst crap I've ever made and get paid for it no matter the quality. It doesn't matter anymore. Not on Amazon. As long as it gets their approval, all somebody has to do is click on it. And it doesn't matter if it's good or bad, long or short, in focus or out of focus, useful or unuseful, the commission will be paid if that person buys. Whether or not they realize they're doing that, I don't know, but it's a very different platform than YouTube, where I can speak my mind and be honest without repercussion or approvals. And people have retaliation, where they can leave comments and talk back, thumbs down, and try to retaliate. You can't retaliate on Amazon. So pros and cons. And it's fascinating how Amazon's approach is so different from YouTube's. All right, we're just about done. Any questions for me? This is the time. If you've got an unrelated question, you're welcome to ask it now, because when we're done here, we're going to screenshot our results and save them. Like I said, crystal disk mark, we're going to see the benchmark numbers of an S880. That's on me. That's not on the manufacturer. We're at Gen 4x4, so we're going to get Gen 4x4 speeds of the NVMe drive we choose to install. So we don't need to test that. We know exactly what it's going to be. It's going to be the same as what every S880 will do in any Gen 4x4 slot. They always are the same. And I'm not hearing any fans. We know this has two fans. We know it's got the fan on the bottom and a fan on the top, fan on top for the CPU. Installation was easy, access was easy. The build quality seems really good. The features with dual RJ45 2.5 gig LAN, Wi-Fi 7 is the latest and greatest. The biggest complaint, I guess, would be just having those Wi-Fi drivers. If AOOSTAR could fix the BIOS update where we had to run it by hand, there's a problem there. They need to fix it. And then the second thing they need to do is provide the drivers for this model, which are oddly omitted from their website. We'll bring that to their attention. We're going to bring it to Amazon review attention and tell people, if you want to buy this, here's how we got the driver. And then in the meantime, if AOOSTAR fixes that, we'll adjust and update the review on Amazon after the fact. But that way, we're helping fellow buyers, even though we don't owe them anything. They're not viewers of our, or members of our community. They're just Amazon shoppers. We don't have to help them if we don't want to. But I just feel it's the right thing to do. And it can help somebody make a purchase decision if they realize, they bought the Barebones and now they're stuck. They will have known that before they made the purchase, so they'll be ready for it. This really should be AOOSTAR's job and not mine. I'm basically working for AOOSTAR, not only for free, but I paid money to work for them because we bought this machine. So I paid them to work for them, to do what they're not doing, to help other of their customers, not my customers. I want you to think about that concept and how stupid that is for a business decision, because you're never going to make any money doing that. It might feel good to help people that are complete strangers all over the world that'll never say thank you because they can't on Amazon. But it helps me sleep at night. Our maximum temp is still just 83.3. That's nice and cool. And we're pulling in how many watts? That's RAM wattage. What about CPU wattage? Did I pass it? I'm not seeing any throttling. It says no across the board. That means it's got a good cooling system in it. So what I'm looking for is a number that ends with a W, like these, but that's for RAM. Let's just scroll quickly through. Where am I? Here, is it in here? Now that's the GPU. Total power. It can't be right. Oh, that's for the RAM. Never mind. CPU. It's the CPU fan. Wattage. Here we go. There's package power up here. So it looks like we can get a maximum of 60 watts going to this bad boy. It's 65 watts. And then a mobile processor, 65 watts would eat your battery up pretty quick. So it cycles down when it's not needed. It also helps keep it cool and extends battery life. But because this isn't running on a battery, it's not as important to us except for the cooling aspect. But that would explain, first of all, that this would be very low energy consumption, low cost to run, pay for the electricity to run this. And it doesn't have to have excessive fans and fan noise because it is lower powered using mobile chips. And we're at 0 on the timer. That means the benchmark is running right now. So once it finishes drawing the screen, we'll get a score right over here for our single core. I'm very happy with this. I think this is a great deal. They just need to fix the driver and the BIOS update problem. which we worked around because we're experienced. But you shouldn't have to be experienced. If they're selling it on Amazon, that means anybody can buy it. That should imply anybody can download the drivers and execute the BIOS if they can at least know enough to visit the website. So AOOSTAR, for one reason or another, has dropped the ball. I'll assume they're not aware of it. I don't know how they could not be with the number of units they've likely sold since January. What do I know? We'll email them anyway. Then we know they know. And then we'll see if they choose to do anything about it. Kelvin says, it's warm in Houston, Texas, and calling for storms all next week. Man, I wish we had some storms here in Phoenix. But Houston, I've been to Houston once, and it was miserable. It was so hot and humid, I feel like I could push the humidity away. It was so thick and heavy. And I can imagine Louisiana must be the same. I've never been, but they're so close together. I've never been in such humidity in my life. The air was thick. It felt like when you breathed in, it felt heavy. That's a weird sensation. I guess you get used to it, but at whatever time of year I was out there, it was bad. Stay safe, stay dry. I'm sure it's just another day in Houston for you. Okay, almost done. Okay, no other questions? I don't see anybody talking to me in the chat room. You're all just ignoring me. If I had any feelings, that would probably hurt one of them. I guess no news is good news. No questions regarding this or even your home computer? Nothing we can do for you? I guess we're doing our job too well then. Have I ever experienced severe weather in Houston? Just being in Houston. The humidity was so thick, I've never felt anything like it. I would call that pretty severe from my perspective. For you, it was probably just Tuesday. Andy says, I have a dream, Carey. Do you think we may all be dreaming on Sunday? Better dreams than nightmares. What do I think about an AMG C500? I don't have that kind of money. So if it's got the letters AMG and the word Mercedes on it, just the word Mercedes on it is outside of my financial means. And then adding even more, $20,000, $30,000 more to get the letters AMG on it. I don't know what world you live in or what you do for a living, or how you make your money. But if you're asking me because you own one or you're expecting to buy one, I envy you, because it's a nice luxury car that's very powerful. I've never owned a Mercedes, and the people I know that have owned them have nothing good to say about them as far as like reliability goes. I don't know. I've never owned one. I also don't desire one. I don't desire the requirement to put premium gas in a European car at $6 a gallon. No, thank you. I don't desire driving an expensive car in an overly crowded city where nobody gives a damn about anybody else, just to find door dings and dents in my car when I walk out to the parking lot and leave it. It doesn't make any sense to have a nice car in Phoenix or any big city like Boston, New York City, Chicago. When you're so crammed into this little urban area, don't waste your money. I mean, maybe you lease a car, you got that kind of money, and you can just go and return it after a couple of years, and then the little nicks and scratches and dings won't matter to you. But when I buy a car, I generally keep them for eight years. So in my whole lifetime, if I started to buy a car at the age of 20, which would have been a used car, well, 16. So after 8 years, I'd be 24, then 32, then 40, 48, 56, 64, 72, and 80. I might buy 8 cars in my whole life. I've actually owned more than that because early on I was buying cheap used pieces of crap that only lasted for 18 months. What do you get for a few $100 bucks? A couple $1,000 bucks. And then eventually, in my first new car was 1995, and then I've only replaced a new car with a new car. Or very lightly used, like if it's a year or two, nothing more, nothing older than that. Because I don't want the maintenance and the work. When I was younger, I didn't mind doing the maintenance and work. Also, I didn't have any money. I didn't have much choice. Now that I'm older, I can afford to have the maintenance and work as long as it's not a heavy maintenance car. Or a car where, you know, an oil change on a Mercedes is 2 to 3 times more money than an oil change on a Chevy or a Ford or a Toyota. So the ongoing expense, the insurance expense, the anxiety every time I park it, have something valuable just sitting out there for anybody to do what they want to it, not in this town. Now, if I lived out in the woods, out in the sticks, it also wouldn't make sense to have a car like that because no one's going to see me in it. You know what I mean? Like, your neighbors are probably going to say, look at the city boy coming up here to live in the sticks. Nobody in the sticks is driving a Mercedes unless they're new here. How you going to plow the snow with that bad boy in the wintertime, son? You must be new around these parts. That's a fancy little delicate piece of flower you got there. Let me show you my 72 Ford F-150 with the snowplow in the front, because you're going to be my best friend in the wintertime. All right. It looks like our test is done. Let's see our final results. Let me get rid of camera 1 for a second here. And let's go to final results screen. I will hit function print screen on my keyboard. And we'll bring up Microsoft Paint. We'll click Edit and Paste. Right. It gives me everything. And we'll save this file. Save as JPEG. Over on the desktop here, we'll call it Cinebench R23 results. I spell results. Save. And with that done, close, 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 delete, delete, delete. Still done with these, but there's our results there on the desktop. So normally what I do after the show is I will take a copy of any benchmark results. So for the record, I will run Crystal Dismark and save the results, even though, again, it's a barebone, so it's kind of on you. And then any drivers, and I'll make a folder called AOOSTAR G-FLIP. I'll put those files in it, just as a reference for me if I want to attach these pictures to an Amazon review, or I want to reset the computer again, and I don't have to go and locate the drivers again. And then when I sell the computer or get rid of it, I'll delete the folder, because otherwise I'd have hundreds of folders on there for files I no longer would use, or it would be out of date by now anyway. And let's go back camera 1, full screen. Hello, Mara.
You have email and we have a new.
No, that's a splotch. The cat laying on the stairs. That's my step cat. What do I do with my, oh, over here. You just really like that.
So,
huh?
well, I think it's like adorably stupid.
Wait, are you talking about the computer or me?
Definitely not you.
Oh, good answer. You can stay.
I mean, it's neat and it's stupid, but I mean,
It could have
fun,
it could have a purpose.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
Hey, Tom Jackson sent us an Amazon gift card, $7.77. Hope you enjoy the gift card. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, of course, to William Denton and Charlie Purdy, as well as Mark Gaines, our friend Buster, and Luke Greenia. You guys are amazing. Thank you guys so much for continuing to support us. We really appreciate that, and the money will go back into the channel for more projects. If you see something on the channel that you see us review and you say, oh, maybe I want to buy that. We want to sell this stuff so we can get more money, so we can continue to buy more things. And we always sell it. Obviously, we sell it for a loss in most cases. Sometimes we have a very nice viewer that will, like Mark Leibowitz, paid us full price for something he could have bought without paying for the shipping directly from Amazon. And he did it to support us. That was incredibly nice of him. And it's not required, though. We generally expect to lose money because it's used. And then we have to pay for shipping, right? And if you see something like that and you're interested, it also supports the channel. Otherwise, we'll sell it to some stranger on eBay. So if you're curious about that, we handle all that privately in email. Reach out to us. Say, hey, I saw the video on this, that, other. A lot of these machines, we will keep them for a few months before we sell them for revisiting a review or following up. But then after that, it's game on for anybody interested. So if you want to reach out to us and ask us about the status of something you might have seen a few months ago that you might be interested in, no harm in asking. And we appreciate it. We really do. Even if we can't meet the fulfillment of that item, most of the items we can work it out for sure. Because we have to keep things moving and hopefully use the inertia of the money we spent to regain that money by selling it and reusing what's left, and try and recycle as much as possible so we can keep everything flowing and keep the content flowing when the industry is so slow. Now, when we're run out of things to buy, regardless of how much money we have, if there's just no more new mini PCs or no more new motherboards, let's hope it doesn't go that long. That's the only answer I have, because I don't have an answer for that problem. Thank you, Tom. Thank you for the Amazon gift card. Andy, thank you for hanging out with us, my friend, and all of you. Thanks for hanging out. I'm going to get rid of the email there and say, once again, super appreciation to our community. I enjoy spending time with you, and I'm glad that you've spent your Friday afternoon with me. I hope that this was as interesting to you as it was for me. I enjoyed it. I think it's a good value. If we can get the BIOS issue, so that when you click it, it works. If they can fix that, and if they can provide the drivers, I don't think I'd have anything to complain about. Hold my beer. No, seriously, it's very well built. It's quiet. Whether or not the screen is a value to you, I don't know, but it's not like they're really charging extra for it. Not much. With or without the screen at $320, I feel like it's a pretty solid buy. I'll go ahead and get a license for it later tonight, so we'll get Windows activated later. I just want to make sure everything works as it should before we go buying any license, because the license is not transferable. Once that license is tied to that board, if you find out later you need to send it in and they send you a replacement, you will not get to reuse your license. You'll have to buy another one. So always postpone that to the very last thing, which is why I will do it later. And yeah, Mitch, good to see you again. Thank you to Mara for all the work she does as our channel administrator. She puts the thumbnails together, the video descriptions together, answers your emails, works with potential review units, reaching out to companies. She'll reach out to AOOSTAR with the results, see if we get any response. If we do, we'll follow up. If we don't, my follow-up would be on my Amazon review. But now you know. So if you decide to buy one, you know exactly what to expect, where the obstacles are, and how to overcome them. There's other sources for that MediaTek driver besides Lenovo. That was just one way that I solved it. Because we're live, I'm just trying to get it done. I'm not trying to look at 27 different ways we could have solved the problem. You just need one of the 27 ways, and the other 26 won't matter. So that was just the random one that happened in our live stream today. And that's how the business is. When I'm in the field working on a customer's machine at their location, and I don't have all my tools and utilities available to me that I have here, I have to work on the fly. And that's how it's done in the real world. It shouldn't have to be done that way. I should be able to go to AOOSTAR and get exactly what I need. But, is that an oversight? Is it intentional? Is there a reason that we don't know? Until I tell them, I don't know if they're aware of it. If I tell them and they still don't respond, or they still don't make a change within 4 weeks, then I'm pretty convinced that this is what you should expect from a company like this. And then I will include that in my Amazon review follow-up, whether or not they address it or they don't, so that you know what to expect if you ever have to follow up with them. Are you going to expect an answer when I didn't get one? Or should you expect an answer because I got one? That's why this information is important to share. It's implied that a business should want to talk to you. And they should appreciate being made aware of things, and maybe they will be. I don't know. I just can't explain why if this has been available since January, how has nobody complained who's ordered a Barebones unit? What did they do? Has it all been handled privately in tech support emails back and forth? Because we wouldn't be able to do that live, would we? We'd be waiting days to get this thing up and running. I think that's important to expose that for full transparency before you make a purchase, so you know exactly what to do and what to expect, and you'll be less likely to return it or be disappointed, which is all in AOOSTAR's benefit, not for mine. If I wasn't clear about that earlier. But it's just an offshoot of the community that we extend that courtesy to complete strangers on Amazon and complete stranger companies that don't talk to us, like AOOSTAR, because it's the right thing to do, regardless if we're paid or not. It's just right. And if you keep doing the right thing, I do believe money or opportunities will avail themselves from entities that appreciate and value what you're doing. But rather than hoping they're going to believe in you, you start by giving them a reason to even pay attention to who you are, and to then evaluating what value you have to them. And then if you do that to enough, like companies, let's say, for example, one of those companies is bound to step forward and say, thank you, this was very helpful. Can we send you some review units? That's how you get to that position. You start doing the work for free. Some companies will ignore you. Some companies will appreciate you and want more from you. And they may pay you or offer you opportunities that you would have not otherwise had because you did the right thing. I do believe that's how the world works. But you might have to reach out to 15 or 20 companies to get one or two that will actually follow up with more than just a thank you. And some of them won't even say thank you. But it's still the right thing to do regardless. And I do believe that that will have its own payment in karma. Eventually, you may need to be patient, and it'll be worth it. If it ever proved to be wrong in all my years in life, I wouldn't be practicing it anymore. But it's happened enough in my lifetime that it's proven itself to be absolutely true. And sometimes it's faster, and sometimes it's slower, but it always comes. But if you get involved, like if you just stay quiet, you don't leave any review at all, you're not noticed, you're not seen, well, you'll just expect more of that. Make yourself noticed, make yourself seen, make yourself helpful, do the right thing. Good things will come back to you in time. Some sooner than others. But regardless, don't make it transactional. Just keep doing the right thing and just be patient. You'll see. Thank you guys for hanging out again. That's going to wrap it up for me for today. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Friday. We're back live on Sunday with another mini PC to review. I think, what do we got? We have a GMK Tech. We have another AOOSTAR. We have the other Cub from France. We have that new Minis Forum M.2. Which one do you want to see? Let me know in the comments below. And I hope you'll join me back here on Sunday. Until then, bye for now.